Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Pro Savings Days are back at Lowe's with limited time savings on the supplies pros need. Get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save an additional $100 on every $1,000 you spend on select major appliances. And don't miss your chance to activate and earn 3 times the points on select DeWalt and Klein tools. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 3/28. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See associate or Lowe's.com for more details on qualifying items.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. We will see breezy conditions this afternoon with high fire danger. It does remain cool today with highs in the mid-60s, but we begin to see warmer temperatures tonight. Not as cold as last night, 47 for our overnight low. And then a beautiful day on Friday, nice and warm with a high of 80 degrees under sunny skies.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check, everybody. Dow Jones down 157 points to 42,297. Market update brought to you by Enbridge Gas, formerly Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas. Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas customers are now proudly served by Enbridge Gas. Looking forward to a bright future together. To learn more, visit enbridgegas.com.
Into the paint, backs him down, knocked loose. Cooper got it back, put it up, counted in a foul. Got around Omier, goes up and dunks it down. James with authority. Knipple sets the feed and hits a 3. How about another 3? Oh, yeah! Proctor's got 5. Proctor again. Dagger! It's been the Tyrese Proctor show. And he's ready to set sail for the Sweet 16.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Happy holidays, everybody. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. Is there another, holiday that could fall on the same day as another holiday? Because today is Sweet 16 Day and MLB Opening Day. That's like, hey, look at the calendar this year. Christmas and Halloween are on the same day. Right? Does that ever happen? I don't know. I know it's happening today because Major League Baseball is kicking off. That's football term. Is opening pitch all across the country today, and also Duke plays Arizona tonight, and 3 other Sweet 16 games. But you know where we're going to start. Duke versus Arizona tonight, and the conversation is going to settle around, and I don't think it should. It's going to settle around Caleb Love playing against Duke again. Caleb Love has a history with Duke. He, 3 years at UNC, 2 years at Arizona. Every year he's played Duke at least once, and he did make the shot that sealed it for UNC to win in the Final Four in what proved to be Coach K's final game. His history with Duke is a thing that people will talk about right up until the ball is tipped tonight. Then it will not matter at all. Nobody that was on the court for Caleb Love's Final Four shot against Duke will be a contributor for Duke this year. A.J. Griffin was a part of that team. He has since been drafted into the first round of the NBA draft, played in the NBA, and retired from the NBA, and all of that happened since the last time that or since the time that Caleb Love Final Four shot took place. Mark Williams was out there. He has been in the NBA, hurt, back, traded, not traded, back playing again for the Hornets, and that is all since Caleb Love made that shot. That is somebody else's nightmare. That is not keeping Kaman Malawash awake at night. It is not keeping Cooper Flagg or Con Knipple or even Tyrese Proctor awake at night. So this is yes, Caleb Love matters. Don't get me wrong. He's the leading scorer for Arizona. Like he as a player matters. The history doesn't. So let's focus on what does matter, which is the players. And I've spent a lot of my day, spent a lot of my week trying to right, because you don't want to be overconfident. You don't want to, be blinded by talent. I'm looking for the ways that Arizona wins this game. Duke is a 9.5-point favorite. And there's kind of two ways I see it. One, and I hate to say it, but some March Madness happens, right? A player that normally shoots 30% from three makes 8 of 10. And it's just, okay, that one's going to be chalked up to things get crazy in March. And there's nothing you can do about it, right? He's banking in threes off 1 foot, falling out of bounds. If that happens for someone in Arizona, it's always possible. The other that I've come up with is foul trouble. And not just, Duke gets lazy and picks up a bunch of dumb fouls 90 feet from the bucket. The one thing about Arizona that I think they can try to utilize is, and it's going to be real ironic here, Duke is maybe the tallest team in the country. And when I say that, I don't even mean college. I mean basketball team in the country. They're taller than darn near every NBA team when you look at average heights of contributors, average heights of starting five, depending on your metric, depending on who's healthy, who's on the court. Arizona's 3 leading scorers are all listed at 6'3" or 6'4". They are multiple inches shorter than anyone that'll be on the floor for Duke. It's Love, Bradley, and Lewis. So Caleb Love, again, he's important. None of those 3 shoot the 3 particularly well. Love is the best at 33.5%, which is solid, but it's not, 40. There you go. So 3 guys, a little bit smaller, operate getting into the lane, finishing at the bucket, working off the dribble. Duke's length is going to have to stay in front of smaller guards. And if your feet aren't quick enough, what happens? Reach, right? You lean, you get out of position, suddenly there's contact, and you're called for the foul. Or if you get beat, you bail, and you trust your rim protectors to step up. That would be Kaman Malawash. That would be Gongba. That could be Cooper Flagg, right? Or Malik Brown if he plays, right? You trust your rim protectors to have your back, and if that happens, those guys have to protect the rim without fouling. One of the great equalizers in basketball is foul trouble. Oh, you got a huge NBA prospect. Look at that. Would be a shame if he picked up 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes and had to sit for like an hour of real time while the first half plays out. You got to think about those things. Right? If you are the Goliath, you have to look for the slingshot. Duke is the Goliath. You have to try to figure out what Arizona thinks is their slingshot. Sion James, the starting point guard for Duke, who was not the starting point guard when Duke faced off against Arizona back in November, was asked how preparation for Arizona this time is different than it was early in the year.
It's different, especially with a game like this, because we played them, I think it was like 4 months ago. So we're a completely different team. They're a completely different team. They've really found a rhythm and kind of who they are as a group. The big thing in terms of preparation is just understanding that the game's not going to be like how it was the first time. It'll be a lot more physical, and the other team will have different wrinkles, as will we. But it's just understanding it's not the same game.
It's not the same game, and neither team will be the same. I agree. More physical. I agree. What do you worry about in more physical games? Foul trouble, right? Somebody lowers their shoulder into you, especially if you're somebody like Sion James or like Cooper Flagg or like, quite frankly, most of the Duke team compared to Arizona. And it's one of the, I think, unsolvable problems in basketball. If big guy and small guy run into each other, equally initiating contact, small guy falls because big guy big, foul goes on big guy, they did the same thing, right? It's the complaint of the Shaqs and LeBrons and like Karl Malone and Dwight Howard, everybody who's just a naturally big, broad-shouldered dude. I didn't foul him, he fouled me, but he fell, so I get the call. Duke is bigger than outside of Arizona does have a 7-footer and maybe one 7-footer off the bench. Other than that, Duke is bigger, and Sion James has the running back shoulders we talk about. Got to worry about foul trouble. And if you can't tell, this is me working as hard as I possibly can to find ways that I think Arizona can beat Duke. Because if you look at it analytically, you look at it matchup for matchup, you look at it, right, like you go through the roster, player 1, player 2, all the way on down, Duke should win the game. Duke, but you can't go into a game like that. You can't go in with, hey, guess what? We're better. We're going to win. You have to find the things to focus on. So that's my attempt right there.
Hey, guys, we're favored by 9.5. We're fine.
Favored by 9.5. We beat them by 14 a couple months ago. We've been rolling recently. We've been tested and bowed our neck and fought back. Really like where we are, guys. Imagine if that's John Shire's pregame speech. Really like what we're doing. Just go out there and, yep, make it happen. No, you have to have points of emphasis. So, if there's something that's going to get me worried in the first 5 minutes, it's going to be if a couple key guys pick up, a quick foul, a cheap foul. It looks like they're playing a little arm heavy on defense. That's what's going to worry me for Duke. If I'm Arizona, we know. I'm trying to think of like the indicators. We know the things that Duke does that if they happen, okay, it's going to be another day, right? It's going to be another top-level performance. Mentioned it the other day. If Tyrese Proctor knocks down a 3 in the first 2 minutes, like he did in their game against Baylor, right? The first points of the game were a 3 for Tyrese Proctor. That's a harrowing sign for Arizona. If he's still rolling with the shooting touch that he's had the last 3 games, then Arizona's in for a hurting. Caleb Love, the player we've been talking about for Arizona, talked about trying to slow down that very same Tyrese Proctor.
Yeah, obviously he's been hot from 3, and he's a great defender. And so we just gotta handle that with care as far as running them off the line and making them do other things, shifting the ball to other guys that we want with the ball in their hands and things like that. So. He's a great player. We've obviously had, matchup after matchup.
Matchup after matchup. They actually do have a history, but that's Arizona Caleb Love against Duke Tyrese Proctor, not the UNC version. They've matched up a few times. It is, 10 times in a career. It's a lot to play against the same team.
I guess when Tyrese Proctor was a freshman, Caleb Love was in his final year at UNC, so they did cross paths in that regard too.
Oh, well then okay, they did. Tyrese Proctor's the one.
Yeah. Like, he's, literally the only carryover from when...
there's walk-ons and stuff. Spencer Hubbard would have been around.
Yeah, but
I actually...
We're talking about players that play.
Yeah, and Proctor, first of all, hat tip to Dennis on the correction there, need it. But Proctor's a billion times different player than he was as a freshman, which should have been his senior year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same guy, especially not if he's shooting the way he's shooting. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll continue to lock in on that game as it gets closer and closer to tip-off. It is the late game, by the way, in Newark. So it is 9:39 scheduled opening tip. Dennis, when do you think that one actually gets started?
Over under 10 p.m.
Yeah, I think it's closer to that. I think it's a good line, probably around 10. So, drink your caffeine, maybe catch a nap this afternoon, not during the show, after, to get ready for this evening might be a better way to say that. And get ready for a late-night game if you're going to be staying up watching Duke take on Arizona. If you are UNC, you might hate watch, right? You might watch and root against a team, and that's cool. Go ahead and do that and maybe plan for the future. And that's what Hubert Davis is doing, their head coach. He also had his radio show earlier this week. We have some audio from that about how UNC plans on not being in this situation, watching the Sweet 16 next year. Stick around.
We're in the middle of the madness.
Proctor, the 3. Proctor fired up.
From the first 4 to the national championship.
A lob to Cooper to punch it down.
All the hoops action will be heard here.
It's been the Tyrese Proctor Panthers show.
The road to San Antonio is driven by WakeMed, Roofworks, Metro Elevator, and Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Hey, everybody, it's Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. Hey, so your brackets are busted? Well, new customers at FanDuel can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to bet on everything from clutch shots to last-second heartbreaks and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been waiting to join, there is no better time. There's tournament action almost every day, and FanDuel has amazing bet types like spreads, totals, game props, and so much more. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/Paul. That's Paul with a capital P. And get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
So, you found the one and want to get married? Next step, you need the ring. And not just any ring, the perfect engagement sparkle that exemplifies your love. Bailey's Fine Jewelry is here to help. Our diamond experts, wide selection of high-quality diamonds, and financing make saying I do easy. We guarantee you'll love the ring or your money back. You're invited to see why Bailey's has been voted best place to buy your diamonds. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to find out more.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello, Creighton Blackwell here at Coastal Credit Union 99.9 The Fan, and we're here to celebrate yet another Scholar Athlete. This month, we're at Middle Creek High School, where we celebrate our newest Scholar Athlete of the Month, Kristen Norton.
My parents have always been there for me. And then my teammates, they really helped me with like the mental part of it. So they really helped like bring me up when like I make mistakes or something and just keep me like grounded.
She's just a great person. She's a great leader by example and also vocally.
She's just that type of person. It doesn't matter what the situation is, anything that can help the team. She's a great young lady.
It's amazing to have on the team. She's a really good role model and a leader on the team.
She's always first to step in and try something new to help the team.
What does winning this award mean to you?
It just means that like all my hard work has like really shown. Some days I'm like, what have I done? Like, what have I accomplished? But getting this was like, people have actually seen my improvements and my accomplishments. So it's good. It's really good. Yeah.
Congratulations, Kristen.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
As they get it back out to R.J. Davis, 13 on the shot clock. Crossover, step back, triple, count it! Oh, yeah.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I said this about the ACC tournament without NC State. They didn't even make it. I'm going to say it about the Sweet 16 also. Feels incomplete to me. Right? The Sweet 16 feels incomplete with just one ACC school. Doesn't happen very often. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I hope right now across the country, especially now that it's actually across the country, not just the East Coast. I hope across the country, ACC men's basketball coaches are, they're not doing the, hey, give me 2 weeks off. It was a long season. Let me go put my toes in the sand somewhere. I hope they're back to work trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. And certain coaches probably are more motivated to do that by maybe how make or break they see this upcoming season for their careers. Hubert Davis is the head coach of UNC, and with the portal in full effect, that North Carolina has to be dug in and working towards next year already. And Hubert had his Tar Heel Sports Network radio show earlier this week. We have some audio for you, including Hubert Davis complaining, like I think everybody in college basketball, including this show, complained about the timing and schedule of the transfer portal.
Well, one of the things I don't like to do is just go from one thing to the next. And, we just finished on Friday, and you just don't have an opportunity just to be able to reflect and take a deep breath and be able to process the whole season and what went on. And you automatically have to go into the next phase, because the reason why we have those meetings is you need to know, because the transfer portal started on Monday.
The transfer portal started on Monday. And if you believe if you ain't pushing the limits, it probably started before that, right? If you're not tampering a little bit, you might be behind. Tampering happens everywhere. That's my favorite part. Every single coach will tell you their players are tampered with all the time. Nobody's ever like, oh, I've tampered, right? If everybody's team has been tampered with, never mind, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. The interesting part about UNC, and Hubert Davis acknowledged it, is you're not just looking for the best basketball players at a program like UNC. You're not just looking for the right fit on the court at a program like UNC. You also have to find the people that are great basketball players, great fits for the players you already have, and can put up with the eyeballs that come with wearing that uniform for that school. Hubert talked about having to find players who can handle the scrutiny that comes with being a Tar Heel.
Can this person handle the spotlight to play here? This is different. It's just different. And I'm not trying to distinguish ourselves between anyone else, but I am. The lights are bright here, and everything that you do will be critiqued or criticized. And, some people, it's very difficult. They can't handle that. And so we have to, decide, is this person able to handle the spotlight here and be able to perform on this type of stage?
I love that as a recognition. I love that as a point of emphasis for UNC. And I'm not naming names on this, but when people do go into the portal from North Carolina, and immediately the discourse becomes, well, the fan base ran him off. They were so critical. They didn't like this. Every time he missed a shot, they did this. And I'm going like, well, it is North Carolina. There's a lot of people that really want to win, and when you're not winning, there's going to be, fair or not, criticisms.
There's a high standard there.
It's certain teams, certain programs, certain areas have to deal with that. Guess what? It's Major League Baseball opening day, right? You want to be a starting pitcher for the New York Yankees, you're going to have thicker skin than the starting number one pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. And when the Yankees are drafting, when the Yankees are in free agency, they have to take that into account. And I could go on and on, right? Sam Darnold with the Jets looked overwhelmed. Sam Darnold in Minnesota looked like he was pretty darn comfortable until the last two games. It's a different beast. So, yes, when you are looking for the next whatever for the Tar Heels, make sure they're checking off the, hey, you know what? They can actually delete Twitter from their phone and not have a withdrawal that's going to ruin them, right? They can look away from the noise if they have to. Or the opposite. They can use the noise to motivate them. But whatever it is, you have to be able to handle the eyeballs. That, I think, and by the way, I think that's a good, Hubert Davis has been around a long time, but he's been the head coach now for a handful of years, and I'm fine with him figuring that out over time. Because I do think a basketball coach might be blinded by talent and say, no, I'll get him here and I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. It'll be awesome. It'll be all hunky-dory. And then over time go, actually, you know what? I do think I have to get guys that are a little bit more thick-skinned. That's something I'm okay with. You know what I'm a little less okay with? A basketball coach figuring out after playing at North Carolina, playing in the NBA for 12 years, coaching as an assistant coach at North Carolina for a bunch of years, being in the media for a bunch of years, and then being the head coach for a handful of years, to suddenly say, we need to be a bigger team, as if it's some kind of a revelation. Here's Hubert Davis on the fact that the team has to have more size.
We've got to get bigger. We just do, from A to Z. Yeah. We just do. And, you talked about the physicality, for example, of Ole Miss, and their positional size was bigger than us.
Yeah.
And pretty much that's the way we were the whole season. And so that's one of the things that we're definitely going to address is we've got to get bigger. And, in terms of that physicality, you have to have a presence, you have to be bigger, and that's what we're addressing this summer.
Now, we need to get bigger. We need more size. I don't want to make it too simple. It is basketball, though. Now, I know this because my family is tall, okay? I am a hair under 6'4". I am the shortest of all of the boy cousins, right? So we range from my height up to like 6'9". There's a lot of people in my family that if we walk around, the first question we get is, where'd you play basketball? Oh, what's the basketball team? Oh, where'd you guys play? Oh, especially when we were younger, right? Maybe, a little less of a inner tube around the circle, around the waist and that kind of deal. The reason why people see tall, see big, see size, and immediately go, where did you play basketball, is because you need it to be good at basketball. Again, I don't want to make it too simple, but if after year 4 of being a track coach, you go, I think we need to get faster, I'm not going to go, oh, well, good on him for figuring it out. I'm going, that's kind of day one stuff. If you're playing a team and they're bigger than you at every position, they're going to have an advantage. Can you overcome that? Yes. Can you have players that are smaller and they can be more skilled and they can be more explosive and you can fight it with scheme? Sure. But to then go like, you know what? Didn't work out. We got to get bigger. It's basketball. It's basketball. So I'm fine with some of the things. Oh, you know what? We maybe put too much emphasis on, and I'm inferring a bit here. This isn't word for word. We maybe put a bit too much emphasis on, maybe this analytic or this skill, right? This basketball ability without looking at the personality and how they can handle the bright lights of UNC. I'm fine with figuring that out over time. But going into a basketball season and going like, who would have guessed being smaller than darn near all of our opponents was going to be a disadvantage? And they were, by the way, smaller than darn near all of their opponents. It's not like they were, mostly tall except for when they faced a unusually gargantuan team like Duke. No, it's like most teams they played, they had a legitimate size disadvantage at almost every position. Like you at least have to understand going in that that's going to be something to deal with. We simply have to get bigger. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Nailed it.
Yeah. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has that voice you just heard. He has something to pass along to you.
Hey, folks. Dennis Cox here for my friends over at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Folks, it's that time of year. Who's cutting down the nets this year? Plain and simple. Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. All tournament long, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with the promo code Radio100 to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Will be back with a Dean's List, shouting out a bunch of people in college sports, and another reason for NC State to be happy and pleased with their hiring of Will Wade. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
I love this time of year. Filling out the brackets, it's like going to the weirdest farmer's market ever. Yeah, I'll take some of those 15 seeds, couple of mid-majors, and what do you got on that top seed shelf there? No? Yeah, I'll take that second seed. All right, one bracket down, just 15 more to go.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time. Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This
is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
With the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries?
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bojangler time. Time to stop whatever you're doing and head over to Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
At WakeMed MyCare 365, we provide walk-in primary care every day of the year at the same place where we provide walk-in urgent care. So walk in or make an appointment for a checkup, physical, chronic condition, referral, you name it. Learn more about MyCare 365 at wakemed.org. On foot or by appointment, you'll walk in for the highest quality primary care and waltz out good to go.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com. And get ready for the workday.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Goes up on a double team and got it taken away. Cooper will lead the break. To the right, Proctor to lay it in. And the lead grows to 13. How about the defense for Cooper and Knipple? And there was a foul on that shot as well.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'll address a comment on our YouTube very quickly here. By the way, you can live stream our show, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube, live streamed just about every day. Every day our technology allows. And there's comments there, and Dennis occasionally brings some of them to my attention, but he reads darn near all of them. There was one, John Tortorella was fired by the Flyers earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
There's a commenter asking if Torts should be joining the Canes in some form or fashion on their coaching staff.
Yeah, Ryan Jones said, can we talk adding Torts to the Hurricanes coaching staff? Ryan just said, thanks, Tim.
I appreciate for being a part of the show, interacting. No. But that's, I'm saying that like half, like for dramatic effect, the way I said it. It's Tortorella's not going to sign up to be an assistant coach, and Rod probably doesn't want another main voice. There are certain guys that might work going from head coach to assistant. There are certain head coaches that might do better with a very, very pronounced voice elsewhere in the coaching staff. I don't think that's a fit.
Do you know what he said earlier this week? This is a quote from John Tortorella. Quote, "I'm not really interested in learning how to coach in this type of season where we're at right now." Oh, okay. Oh, you don't want to be here? Bye.
There you go.
It's just
Tortorella is what he is, and if you follow the sport, you know exactly what I mean. And I don't think he's going to be an aid to the Canes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Needless to say, even though he's not in the college sports world, so he's not eligible, he will not be on the Dean's List for today, but let's ring in class is in session. This one I am adding at the last possible second because I just read it during the commercial break. It is, we'll call it half of a Dean's List.
Okay.
A gentleman by the name of Desmond Watson. The Florida Gators Pro Day is going on right now.
Okay.
Desmond Watson is a defensive lineman. He is 6'6", and he weighed in at his pro day. Drum roll, please. 464 pounds.
I'm sorry, what?
464 pounds.
At 6'6"?
6'6".
That is
464 pounds. I believe if he is drafted into the NFL, that will make him the heaviest player in NFL history. He was listed at 449 this past season, up from 435 as a junior, 415 as a sophomore. His recruiting profile lists him as a 385-pound athlete. So he's put on almost 100 pounds from when he started at 385.
What's his name again?
Desmond Watson. He put up 225 on the bench 36 times and ran the 40-yard dash in 5.93 seconds. He had a 25-inch vertical jump, which doesn't sound like much, but to get almost 500 pounds, 25 inches, more than 2 feet off the ground, young fella putting in work.
By the way, the 36 bench press reps would have been the most at the NFL Combine by 3 reps.
And it did look like a toothpick in his hands.
Yeah.
I don't know. I read that and felt like I had to pass along the information. So there's our first Dean's List member.
That's 25-inch vert. I mean, it's
over 2 feet, getting 464 pounds off in the air. I know athletes are getting bigger, faster, stronger. That's bigger, and stronger, and maybe a little slower.
Ran a 5.86.
Oh, faster than I read on.
5.8640. I've seen a 5.93, a 5.86, but nonetheless,
yeah, it's all in the same
still
range. I don't know.
Dude's moving.
If your job is to just be a blocker eater in the middle of a defense, you just need to make 2 guys not move. How are you moving almost 470 pounds? It's wild. Let's get some other Dean's List, maybe some more traditional Dean's List members. I'll go with Malik Brown from Duke.
Okay.
John Shire, the head coach of Duke, said yesterday there's a chance Malik Brown could be available tonight for their game against Arizona. Said he's going to be a game-time decision. Battling back from 2 the same shoulder dislocated 2 times in the same basketball season, that takes some mental fortitude. That takes some real grit, right? Because I don't know about you, if I dislocate my shoulder and I go through all of the rehab and I take all the pain and I come back and I have the harness kind of strap on my shoulder and then it pops out again, I'm looking for solutions. I don't want it to happen again. And I also know how bad it hurts if it does happen again. So the fact that he's even trying to come back this season and not entertaining surgeries, or at least an extensive rehabilitation program where you strengthen the muscles in your shoulder to hold it in place, that's giving up your body for your team. So credit to Malik Brown. Do you have one you'd like to add? I have a couple more if you don't.
I don't actually.
All right.
I mean, it's hard to top 6'6", 400 plus 460-something pounds from Desmond Watson. I can't top that.
There's not many players that 400-plus is selling it well short. Like, you can't just say 400. It's got to be 450-plus if you're saying just throwing a plus out there. 2 more quick ones. 1, ACC football. 5 of the top 15 quarterbacks in college football next year, according to Adam Rittenberg, who ESPN college football reporter, put out a list today. The ACC has 5 of the top 15. Number 15, Darian Mensah of Duke. Number 11, Kevin Jennings of SMU. Number 9, Haynes King of Georgia Tech. Number 7, Carson Beck of Miami. And number 1, the best returning quarterback in college football, Cade Klubnik of Clemson.
Let's go.
And here's why they're on. Not just because they're good, because it's just a list.
Conference of QBs, baby.
2 of them are $4 million per year transfers. Where are the big chip stacks now, huh? Taking Darian Mensah from Tulane and giving him $4 million a year for 2, reportedly, according to CBS Sports. Taking Carson Beck from Miami, giving him from Georgia to Miami, giving him $4 million a year, according to reports. ACC, we're not the small chip stacks at the table that think we are. Or we're just all in on like 2 guys. Either way, ACC football's a Dean's List member. And one more. Dennis, when I say this name, does it mean anything to you?
Okay.
Lucas Mercuri, or Mercury, or Mercuri.
No.
Yeah.
Neither of those names.
None of those names.
None of those
could
names.
be any of them. He is a UMass hockey forward.
Okay.
Center.
Go on.
He is a Canes prospect.
All right.
Drafted in like the 6th round 4 or 5 years ago.
Let's go.
They take on Minnesota in the NCAA tournament tonight.
Oh, okay.
Winner goes to the Elite 8. There's a Canes prospect on the ice. I looked it up. They have a couple in the NCAA this year. None are playing except for Lucas Mercury. 4th on the team in points with 31, 10 goals, 21 assists. Probably not going to end up in the big league club, but you wear the Canes at any point in time, I root for you. That's all I got. That's it for the Dean's List. It'll be an easier list to put together tomorrow with all of the Sweet 16 going on, or half of the Sweet 16 going on tonight. Not a lot happening in the college sports world as far as on-court or on-field performances.
All right, so we're rooting for UMass to get to the Frozen Four?
Minutemen, baby. I believe Minnesota, the team they're up against, is like the 2 seed and higher ranked and all that. So pull off the upset. What's his name? Lucas and the Minutemen. My dad went to UMass, so shout out to them too. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Modern college basketball, right? Talking about not much happening over the last couple days on the court. That doesn't mean not much has happened in the reality television show known as college basketball. Portal entries, portal rumors, coaching changes. That's all happening. And you know how we actually talked about UNC? If you weren't around earlier today, I'll give you the cliff notes. UNC, their head coach Hubert Davis, on his radio show this week said, we have to not only look for the best basketball players, we have to look for guys that can handle the spotlight of UNC. Right? It's another thing to add to your evaluation of a player. Right? If you think about it like an Excel spreadsheet, like is he tall enough? Is he strong enough? Is he good enough with his handle? Does his shot good enough? Is his defense good? Like, you got to check all of this off. They have to add another box that says, is he thick-skinned enough? Well, for college basketball, there's a new check mark you need before you hire your next head coach. And NC State checked that off, and all of these schools are trying to. They need to be a good enough recruiter. Yes. They need to be a good enough schemester, right? X's and O's. Yes, they need to be relatable. They need to be marketable. They need to be all these things that have been the case forever. But there's a new one you have to add. You have to be able to handle awkward conversations. You have to be able to handle tough, awkward questions and not make it absolutely unbearable. Will Wade, the head coach of NC State now, handled the move to NC State as well as he could. He was still coaching at McNeese State. There were rumors of his interviewing at other places, and he was asked about it, and he was refreshingly honest, while also, by the way, not throwing his McNeese guys under the bus, not making it awkward for them, just being matter-of-fact, refreshingly honest. The schedule of everything with the transfer portal and with the hiring cycle and everything else put Wade in a really, really tough position, kind of out of his control, but he handled it as well as you could. If you want to watch a coach not handle it well, watch Kevin Willard handle coaching Maryland. Maryland is in the Sweet 16. Maryland's season is still going on. Willard is amongst the names being mentioned heavily for the Villanova job, and let's just say he has not handled it well. We have some of the audio from his NCAA media availability, and this is what it sounded like.
I'm sure you saw Mike Loxley yesterday said he would prefer to keep some of these issues in-house. Why have you felt like kind of bringing this discussion in the open has been the best way to advocate for your program?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I think our biggest thing is we got to stop Clayton. He's really good. He shoots the basketball going left 48%. He shoots it right going at like 38%. So really the last couple of days, trying to come up with a game plan to stop, Clayton, because I just think he's one of the best guards in the country that we've seen. And then really, obviously trying to fix our rebounding woes have been at the top of my mind too. So yeah, it's a big problem.
So, to give you a little bit of background there, Willard, when asked earlier this year about, other jobs and everything, went on a long rant about how the basketball team needs to get more of the revenue share pot, and there's obviously football implications there because there's only so much money to go around. And what happened? Then the football coach, Mike Loxley, said, I wish we could have kept this in-house. Then that was passed along to Kevin Willard. And instead of being honest, instead of being coach speak and saying, well, these are important things, we deal with them differently, instead of just doing anything normal, he listened to the whole conversation and then gave a scouting report for a guard that plays for Florida that they're going to play against in the Sweet 16. It was weird. It was awkward. And the tension in the room, if you couldn't tell on the audio, was palpable. The Villanova job is looming, and he's handling it terribly. And I can tell you this, you can do what you want, right? I would never tell anyone what to do with your money, and you should only gamble what you can lose. I bet on Florida to cover the spread tonight. Why? Because Maryland can't possibly be locked in with their coach acting a fool like this. And if you can't handle awkward conversations with grace, with a little bit of decorum, with a little bit of charm, to be honest, a little bit of like answer it the way you want and everyone leaves feeling satisfied and like they got enough information, whether you gave them the information or not. If you can't do that, you're going to fail as a college coach. Think about the awkward conversations that have happened in the last couple of weeks. Jon Scheyer talking about Jeremy Roach. A guy that he coached as an assistant coach, a guy that started 4 years at Duke, that was the holdover from the switch from Coach K to Jon Scheyer. He was the guy. He left for his last year of eligibility to play at Baylor. We don't know who initiated that. We don't know if Jeremy Roach wanted to leave. We don't know if Jon Scheyer gave him the old, hey, if you want to play a lot this year, you probably should. We don't know how that all broke down, but we know that they matched up in the round of 32 of the NCAA tournament. We asked Jon Scheyer about it, and we left feeling okay without acting like that's, being seated at a work event at the same table as your ex-girlfriend. Like, it's that awkward, but for some reason it wasn't with Jon Scheyer talking about it. Jon Scheyer had to address Jay Lucas leaving his team, his assistant coach, his right-hand man who had been with him since he took over as head coach at Duke. He left in the middle of their run towards an ACC and NCAA championship. That's the goal. He left right after the regular season. And again, Scheyer talked about it and he addressed it. And I don't know if he gave us his true feelings. I don't know if he gave us how he really felt about it. But the team was able to put it in the rearview mirror and move on. Will Wade, same thing. Talking about the NC State job, talking about his players' goals being to hit the portal, talking about understanding modern college basketball, and for some reason it wasn't awkward. For some reason it wasn't awkward. And that becomes, it's not the most important thing with a coach, but it's in the top 10 most important things about a coach. You need to be able to, because it's only going to get worse, right? It's only going to get worse. Dennis, I was just telling you, during the commercial break, I saw that the leading scorer in women's basketball, in college women's basketball in the entire country from Florida State hit the transfer portal. You know what else that was added to the tweet that I read about it? She is open to returning to Florida State. Think about how difficult that is for Florida State's women's basketball program. You have a 3-time All-ACC performer. She led the country in scoring. You feel like you helped develop that. She's testing the waters to leave, but she's opening the door to come back, and you have to somehow talk about that, answer that, and not come across bitter that she wants to explore her options and not come across desperate that you need her back. And that's just one example that's going to happen a million times. Hubert Davis had to talk about what they look for in players coming to UNC and players that can handle the criticism without making it sound like he was absolutely trashing on Elliot Cadeau and Jalen Washington and some of these guys that are going in the portal. It is going to get more awkward. And if you can't handle it, you're going to look like Kevin Willard of Maryland. Up there being a weird offbeat, like speaking at a strange pace, trying to lead a program, kind of, but also worrying. Like it doesn't work.
Well, like bringing that back full circle, the whole point of this is how Will Wade, the new hire for NC State, the way he handled the situation, the way he's handled the media, the conversations, everything around it, as opposed to some other people who have not handled things well.
Yes.
And the big thing with Willard that you had mentioned was how their football, he had talked about NIL and lack of funds and things along those lines, about how even earlier this season they couldn't stay an extra night up in New York because they said they didn't, quote, have enough money, but football's getting all this extra money. So he's kind of airing out dirty laundry. The football coach is like, hey, I like to keep that stuff internal, and then gets asked about it, then just completely Euro steps the question, And so it's just kind of like, all right, dude, like where is your mind in this one? That's the big question about it. And keeping the main thing, which is the basketball on the floor. And I think what Will Wade did at McNeese State before coming to NC State, he still kept the main thing. Even in his introductory presser and all that stuff, he kept the main thing. How am I going to make the best basketball possible? And that's really what it's all about. The main thing still has to be the main thing. As much as everything around it changes, it's still about the guys on the floor.
And if he wanted to air out, like you say, air out dirty laundry, I don't have a problem with putting stuff on Front Street. Right? I don't have a problem if he wants to talk revenue share versus the football revenue share publicly. But then once you do it, you have to explain why you did it. Right? If the coach goes, the football coach says, I wish we would have kept that internal, and somebody asks you about it, you say, well, listen, internally, whatever, it didn't get done, or I have nothing to hide, or like whatever it is, you say it. And that's what I think Will Wade did best. Will Wade was asked, are you taking the NC State job? And he said, listen, like we all know what it is. I've talked to the players about it. We've talked about it. They're not going to be surprised by anything, and a lot of those guys are going to try to leave too. I might even take some of them with me. That might not be what the athletic director at McNeese State wanted him to say. It might have, maybe he talked about that too. It's just whatever you do, you got it. It's the inappropriate joke rule. I'm just naming theories all over the place recently. The inappropriate joke rule, right? We all know somebody that tells jokes that you really shouldn't laugh at. But because they're funny and you pull it off, it's like, all right, I'll get the church giggles, right? And hopefully nobody hears it. And then there's the people that tell inappropriate jokes and they can't pull it off. Could be the same joke, but they just don't have the delivery or the charisma. And it's you know what? That's not funny at all. It's actually kind of messed up. Kevin Willard may have just been trying to air it out. He just doesn't have the joke-telling ability that Will Wade has. Or the charisma of someone else. There's a million different ways to do it. You just got to be able to do it. I'm going to watch, obviously, the Duke game tonight. But the other one that I am most interested in watching in the Sweet 16 on this Thursday is Florida-Maryland. Because Florida seems to be all gung-ho. We saw them here in Raleigh at the NCAA tournament first 2 rounds. I know UConn pushed them to the brink, but they seem very united as a team. And Maryland, their coach can't tell them if they're going to be around the next day. And by the way, for those of you thinking like, oh, Maryland, why would you leave for Villanova? Just quickly here, talking future of college sports, there are some that believe the Big East is the spot to be if you want to be a men's basketball coach, because revenue share doesn't necessarily have to be split with football at all or as much for those in the conference. So you might get $10+ million of revenue share in the Big East. Meanwhile, Maryland will never get $10+ million of revenue share to basketball, because that would mean that football is getting 8 or less, and they're trying to play Big Ten football. So there's obviously you can make up that difference with true NIL, collective funding, and true endorsements and those other things. But from the school, the Big East might end up being the best funded basketball conference, and that's why you would jump for Villanova from the Big Ten, even though the chip stacks, the reputations are the Big Ten and the SEC have all the money. That might be true. It just might not be true for specifically basketball. Also, if you're wondering, Kevin Willard, I don't believe has ever won an NCAA tournament game until this year. Made it to the NCAA tournament a bunch, Seton Hall, a couple times at Maryland, but I think this is the first time he's ever won a game. So, going to pay a whole bunch of money. Maybe get a guy with a better track record that can have awkward conversations. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Somebody like Will Wade. I don't know. Maybe that's someone you should target if you're looking for a new coach. That's exactly what NC State did. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. Rates have fallen just a hint from their peak earlier this year. So if you have a rate over 7, right, if earlier this year or last year you had to lock in a rate and it was kind of at that peak, you have a rate over 7, go ahead and give Miller Lending a call and see if they can save you money free of charge. See, that last part probably caught your attention, right? Gordon Miller and Miller Lending, they are the home of the no closing cost loan, which means if they can get you a lower rate, they do so free of charge. It's not, all right, you got to pay all this money for a closing costs and fees, and then we get your monthly rate lowered. It's just, all right, we'll get your monthly rate lowered, your monthly payment lowered by getting you a lower rate. Give them a call, see if they can do it for you. Like I said, it's locally owned right here in Cary. No obligation call, right? You can call and just gather information, see what they can do for you before making any kind of decisions. And even if you choose to go with them, there's no money out of your pocket. So it's definitely no money out of your pocket for the consultation. Go ahead and give them a call, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We have football at 4 coming up next, where we introduce a new game. It's called Better, Worse, or the Same. Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
Hey, I know Cooper Flagg didn't win all of the awards. He won the 2 major ones. He got Player of the Year. He got Rookie of the Year. Neither were unanimous, which blows my mind. But he should have won Defensive Player of the Year as well. And John Shire was the Coach of the Year. Yes, I know Duke has all these great players. They were 19-1. They were 28-3. Historical point differential. Come on.
The Adam Gold Show, weekday starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Fly Stone became an icon.
A Hulu original from Questlove.
Sly and the Family Stone. It can't be overstated how popular they were.
Variety calls Sly Lives, the definitive fun pop documentary.
He opened the portal like, come this way.
Generations have been influenced by Sly.
RogerEbert.com raves. It's a sonic kick to the soul.
If you've been on this height in life and you stop, where's that energy go?
Sly Lives, a.k.a. the burden of black genius. Now
Want to score points with your boss? Recruit RoofWorks to your building maintenance team to handle your commercial roofing needs. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. We've helped hundreds of Triangle businesses with their commercial roof maintenance, repairs, and if necessary, total replacements. Our pros come to your site, assess your roofing needs, and then give you a range of options to fit your budget. And we'd love to work with you. For roof maintenance and repair, contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
It's time to get that brand new Buick you've been wanting. It's the Buick Savings Event at Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford. Up to $3,000 in discounts are available on all remaining Buicks. Plus, a GM purchase allowance and 0.9% financing is available for 36 months. All topped off with deferred monthly payments for 90 days. See dealer for full details. Buick, exceptional by design. Hurry to Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
Which of us, detective, do you suspect is the millionaire?
The evidence is everywhere. Your diamond necklace, Monty's new yacht, and the butler's new convertible. Admit it, you're all Maximilian scratch-off winners.
Of course we are. With 25 prizes of $1 million, you could be too.
New Maximilian from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 2.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. It's a cool afternoon out there. Plenty of sunshine, a little breezy, a high of 66. Of course, once again, we do have high fire danger and very high pollen counts out there. Not as cold tonight. We'll see an overnight low in the upper 40s under clear skies and sunshine tomorrow with a big warm up. Friday's high, 80 degrees.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 163 points to 42,291.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There's really one thing that an offseason is about for a professional sports franchise. Are you getting better or are you getting worse? Right? If you're a GM, you have to go into your boss, usually a billionaire owner, and show them how you're getting better. And if it doesn't look like you are, probably not long for the job. So we thought we'd enter a new game called Better, Worse, or the Same, where Dennis gives me different aspects of the Panthers, position groups, that sort of thing, units, if you will. And then we go ahead and decide whether they are better at that position, worse at that position, or the same as they were at the, what would we say, like midpoint of last season, right? Injuries or
just
whatever.
The end of last year.
End of last year.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Just better than what they were last season. Or worse, or the same.
That's the name of the game.
You tell me.
We were
Better,
very
worse?
creative with the name of this game.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes simple is the way to go. All right, let's go ahead and start where they spent a lot of money this offseason in free agency. The interior, the defensive line. Are they better, worse, or the same as last year?
Better. And I'm assuming, like, you're counting Derek Brown as somebody that was there last year.
How it depends on how you interpret it.
Because he played very little time.
Played one game.
But he was on the roster. Him healthy is worth its weight in gold. It's worth Desmond, what's that guy's name? Desmond Watson, the guy from Florida. It's worth his weight in gold, 464 pounds.
That's a lot of gold.
And then you throw in Wharton, the Chiefs defensive lineman that they signed in free agency to a big deal. Some think it's a overpay, even if it is. He's still another body to rotate in there with Ashawn Robinson, who you'd expect to be more healthy this year, and Shai Tuttle, who actually took a pay cut to stick around. So those four rotating at the interior of the defensive line, pending whatever they add or don't add in the draft, yeah, they're better interior defensive line than they were a season ago.
All right, let's expand upon that. What about the edge rushers? They added Patrick Jones from the Minnesota Vikings. They still have DJ Wanham and Jadeveon Clowney coming back. There's also that DJ Johnson guy. Edge rusher, better, worse, or the same?
I'm going to go the same. Pat Jones doesn't really, like, it's, I guess that they're the same but deeper. Like, they could handle one more injury this year. DJ Wanham was hurt for a big part of the year, but once he showed up, he was pretty good. Jadeveon Clowney never, I mean, it kind of is what he is, right? He's some advanced analytics love him, but the major production, the stats we look at and kind of point to, he never really comes through with. Pat Jones doesn't get me super jazzed up. I don't know. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm taking it back. Slightly better. There's a point in time last year where we were excited about Eku Leota because he had a sack, and then he was cut like the next day. And I'm only half exaggerating on that timeline. It was darn near just that. So I don't expect random practice squad guys to be depended on to rush the passer this year. And that alone is an improvement on last season. So slightly better, although I hope they still make greater improvements in the draft at that position.
Okay, let's actually switch focus real fast. Let's go over to the offensive side of things.
All right.
Wide receiver, better, worse, or the same? David Moore was brought back.
No, I'm going.
No, Deontay Johnson obviously wasn't there for the last half of the year. Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah, I'm going worse.
Worse?
Worse. I mean, Deontay Johnson had the two best receiving days of the year for the Panthers.
Only played half a season there, though.
True, but I mean, if you take away his production, the passing game looks pretty rough. And they haven't really added anybody.
They brought back David Moore. They still have Thielen coming back. You have obviously Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker going into year 2 for each of those guys.
And they had to pay Adam Thielen more, right? They renegotiated and gave him a little extra cash.
Something like that.
Adam Thielen goes from 34 to 35 years old. You don't usually get better there. Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette going from rookies to second year might get a little better, so I guess that kind of cancels each other out. I think of the wide receivers the exact same I did starting about halfway through last year whenever Deontay Johnson left. So, I guess it's the exact same, taking away a 100-yard and an 80-yard day.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, I've been on the record. I think they during free agency couldn't address everything, and they kind of looked at wide receiver and said, that's the most expensive. Like, if we do solve wide receiver, we're not going to be able to solve these 3 other things, so we'll solve the 3 other things and kind of choose to leave a gap at wide receiver. I wouldn't be surprised if they address it early in the draft.
All right, let's go to running back. Miles Sanders let go, even though he had a strong day to close out the season. Miles Sanders let go. Chuba Hubbard's coming back. They bring in Rico Dowdle from the Dallas Cowboys. So right now they have Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, no Raheem Blackshear anymore, no Mike Boone. Better, worse, or the same? Running backs.
Better. Better. Dowdle, like, even if you think Dowdle and Sanders are similar, there's paying Dowdle a lot less money, so it's a better move. Both years you have a hurt Jonathan Brooks, so that's a wash, cancels each other out.
Cancels it out, yeah.
And I've said this, I don't know why, I get very strong feelings about the 4th round for the Panthers. Last year I went in saying 4th round, Jatavian Sanders, tight end, Texas, and they went with the very first pick in the 4th round and took Jatavian Sanders, tight end from Texas. I'm getting a very strong feeling that fast running back is what they're going to go in the 4th round this year. So, because there's a bunch of them that I think should be available there. So I still think the running backs will get better even from now, but I think as of right now they are better than they were last year.
I'm on the Brashard Smith train.
I don't know if he'll be there in the 4th.
SMU. He might not be.
That might be a 3rd. But I think he gets pushed down a little bit by the fact that Bashul Tootin ran so fast at the combine. So if you're looking for a speed guy, it's there. But there's, I have the list if you want me to go get it during the commercial of the GPS times for wide or running backs in the in college football this year. There's some speed out there to be had that'll be available in the middle rounds.
Okay, let's go back to the defensive side of the ball. Actually, one final one here on the offense. Offensive line. Bringing back Austin Corbett, bringing back Brady Christensen, bringing back Cade Mays, all guys that either would have been free agents, restricted or unrestricted. And then you have also coming back Ike Ekwonu, Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt, Taylor Moton, Josh Nyman also back. Better, worse, or the same offensive line?
This is my most emphatic one, my most confident. They're better. They're the exact same players, but they're better. Here's why. You know how like certain GMs become known for believing in certain statistics?
Sure.
Al Davis, if you ran a fast 40, he believed you were going to be a good player. Like there's just certain things like that. If I ever became a GM, and granted, it's becoming less likely by the day. If I ever became an NFL GM, I would be known for believing this stat is wildly important to offensive line play. Snaps together. I would do everything I possibly could to have stability on my offensive line because I think it's truly, I mean, football's the ultimate team sport. The 5 offensive linemen are the ultimate team position within the ultimate team sport. If you can get more snaps next to somebody, you play better next to them. It's a real chicken or the egg, right? Because it's like, well, to get better, I need to play next to you. But to play next to you, I need to be playing well to keep my job. So if you look at the best offensive lines in history, the thing that, it's chicken or the egg, right? Because they're the best offensive lines in history, so they played a bunch of years together with the same guys. Or they became one of the best lines in history because they played with a bunch of years with the same guys. I think if the 5 that started last year, or that I believe are the best 5, which would be Icky, Hunt, Corbett, Lewis, Moton. If they can play majority of the games with those guys healthy, they'll be one of the best. If not, like we're talking the best offensive line in the league.
Okay, final one here. It's going to go the secondary as a whole. So safety and corner for the Carolina Panthers. Trayvon Moehrig was one of their big offseason signings in free agency at safety. They also brought back Mike Jackson. They still have J.C. Horn. They signed to a long-term contract extension. Shaw Smith-Wade going into year 2. Damani Richardson. Better, worse, or the same for the secondary?
This one is the one I wish I could cop out the most and say incomplete, because 3 of the 4 positions, like if you asked me the 1 safety and the 2 corners, I think they're better, right? Because Moehrig is better than any of the safeties that they had last year.
Facts.
And their corners are the same, but with more experience in the system, should be getting a little better. And especially with Horn, a full healthy season, a full healthy offseason, I expect him to level up. The issue is, I don't even know who's going to be the other safety right now, and I expect
neither do the Panthers,
and I expect them to solve that at some point. So, like, I want to say incomplete because they're not done there. And if it ended tomorrow, like if the offseason ended tomorrow, they would have to work today to it's incomplete. It's like, do you like this painting? It's like, well, you haven't painted the right side of the canvas yet. What am I supposed to do with this? So I think they're on their way to being better, but if the season started today, they would be worse because, I don't know, like Trevin Wallace would have to be playing strong safety even though he's a linebacker. Nick Scott, who really didn't play much last year but has signed back as a special teamer, would have to be out there, and that guy would wear a target on his chest in the secondary. So like a bullseye for opposing teams' quarterbacks and offensive coordinators. So they're on their way to being better, but right now they're worse.
Okay. That's it.
And I wanted to cop out. I wanted to say incomplete, but
yeah, I know you did. That's why I put that one last.
Gave you an answer anyway. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have a ladder challenge coming up. We have Hurricanes and Cons, and I'm going to give you a little hint here. Before Hurricanes and Cons, I'm going to do this like a press conference. I have an opening statement to Canes fans about having Hurricanes and Cons, okay? It's an opening statement directly in response to what I've been dealing with Canes fans, okay? That's coming up. But first, Dennis Cox has a statement for you with some info right here, right now.
Folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. It's that time of year. It's the time of year of winning. It's the time of year of winning, and I want you all to win. And one of you will be a winner if you go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com, because the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes, they've all teamed up once again to give a lucky fan a motorcycle. But here's the thing about this year's motorcycle, folks. This is the 4th year they're giving away a motorcycle, by the way. They've all teamed up, 4th year in a row. But this year is the first time it is a fully custom-built motorcycle. Just go to caniacsbike.com. You'll see pictures of the bike. It's right there. That's where you enter to go win. caniacsbike.com. It is one of one. I'm loving this weather. I'm enjoying going out on my motorcycle, riding around. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely a fun thing to do, and you can be part of that and be the only one that has the bike that you have if you win it by going to caniacsbike.com. That's simple, folks. You have until April 6th to enter. That's why I say the time to win is right now, because April 6th is going to be here before you know it. Go to caniacsbike.com. Again, caniacsbike.com. The bike will be given away on the ice at the last home game of the year. That could be you, standing on the ice before a game, keys handed to you to your own custom-built motorcycle. Go to caniacsbike.com to enter. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I have a message for Canes fans and a ladder challenge coming up next.
Move your sports day forward.
I love this time of year. You know, filling out the brackets, it's like going to the weirdest farmer's market ever. Yeah, I'll take some of those 15 seeds, couple of mid-majors, and what do you got on that top seed shelf there? No? Yeah, I'll take that second seed. All right, one bracket down, just 15 more to go.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
Ooh, with the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's no time like Bojangler time. Time to stop whatever you're doing and head over to Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
You have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-2013. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-2013. That's 800-444-2013. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Now, Svechnikov out of the corner. He scores! Nothing bashful on that play. Andrei Svechnikov extends the Canes' lead. It's 2-0, and that's the Magic.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And that's the Magic. Shout out to Maniscalco. Voice of the Canes, friend of the show, friend of the station. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for a ladder challenge. And Dennis, I'm still winning, even though I lost there once, but that one didn't count.
It did not.
I know.
I will acknowledge that it did not count.
Going to remind everybody. How did last night go for you?
Went quite well. I had the Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars at over 3.5 goals. They combined for 7. So I'm up to, I believe it's $16 on the dot.
All right. I am up to I'm
sorry, $14.60. My apologies.
To explain, everybody, we haven't done the explanation in a while. The ladder challenge is simple. Dennis and I start with $10 at the beginning of each month, and we bet what I call likely to win bets. They have to be between the American odds have to be between -500 and -1,000. The idea being, if you roll over the stake and the winnings every single show. So, if you bet $10 to win $11.50, and then you bet the $11.50 the next day, and then the $12.70 the next day, whatever it ends up being, by the end of the month, if you haven't missed, you could really multiply your cash. So whoever has the most money at the end of the month wins. If you lose, you go back to $10 and start all over again. I am currently at $41.34.
There you go. It's like the best month you've had, I think.
I've been up higher than this time.
Have you? Okay.
Calm down. But Kent State did make me sweat a little bit. I went Kent State plus 16.5 over Loyola Chicago. Kent State lost by double digits. But we did have the plus 16.5. The extra little bit helped. Ended up, by the end, a little no-sweat cover. Lost by 10. But it did warm me up for college basketball.
Okay.
Right? I got my juices flowing in the NIT, so I'm ready to bet on the NCAA tournament tonight. And how about this? I can tease, but under our parameters, Duke to an underdog. I have Duke plus 2.5 against Arizona tonight.
Oh, wow.
Duke is a 9.5-point favorite just traditionally on the spread. So I can tease it all the way back to Duke being a 2.5-point dog against Arizona in Newark, which is Cameron North. Minus 810 is the odds there. I love getting the 2.5 right. It insulates me against most buzzer beaters. Obviously, a tie game, long 3. What are you going to do? But as long as Duke doesn't have that happen, it does insulate me against buzzer beaters, and it would take my $41.34 to $46.44 if it does hit. So that's what we're rooting for. We're rooting for Duke plus 2.5.
Hey, you might be flirting with a little disaster there, buddy.
Might be if Arizona wins.
Well, there's that, obviously.
Even if Arizona wins, I still might come out okay.
That's true. You might. You just might. I'm actually going to go with, I'm going to stick with hockey. The Dallas Stars on the road to the Calgary Flames. Over 3.5 goals combined between the two. My $14.60 will turn into $16.70 because the odds on that one are minus 675.
Might be flirting with disaster there.
Nah, I doubt it.
Nah. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's our ladder challenge for today. We will update you tomorrow with the results. We are nearing the end of March, so each day becomes more and more serious. I want to get that trophy back here in my studio.
Yeah, I'm basically in the position of I just need you to lose.
Yep.
That's it. I'm like, okay, let me just maintain steady and just hope that you might trip up and slip up.
Yeah, that's the position you found yourself in. I was there last month. It's really not fun to just root against people.
No, it's not. It really isn't.
It is like the bad part of bracket season is like if your team's already eliminated, you just kind of have to root for like the people you're competing against to also lose. It's really not fun. Unless you're just, Arkansas, if they win it all, then we all tie because nobody picked Arkansas. That's just a weird way to think. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have Hurricanes and Cons coming up. Dennis, go ahead and fire the intro.
But to play great defense, you need one thing above all else.
That starts with a W.
Confidence.
So here's my opening statement. We are going to do hurricanes and cons, which is what are you most confident about? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes? Hurricanes and cons. Get it? Here's the opening statement. Identifying things that you are concerned about or that you don't like about the way a team is playing is not saying the world is coming to an end and this team is bad. And saying things in response. If I don't know, a sports radio host were to bring up something that the Canes might want to do better if they want to win in the postseason or if they want to live up to their potential, it is not the mic drop you think it is to say, Canes have won 8 of their last 10. Okay. Yes, they have. That does not mean that everything they're doing is fantastic. And especially if you are a team like the Carolina Hurricanes who are going to be judged success or failure on the season on winning in the postseason. Really good teams get run out of the postseason early every year. And that can't be the first time they address certain flaws within their program. So if you do bring up, hey, this player needs to pick it up, this line needs to pick it up, this defensive unit pairing, whatever you want to call it, needs to do something better than they're doing, it does not require every Canes fan to white knight come riding in to defend their honor. It's actually like something that I think is necessary towards, and I'm not saying like our discussions are necessary. I'm saying that the discussions are happening is necessary, right? Strengthen your strengths, find your weaknesses, fix them. That's how you end up the most fortified unit you possibly can be going into the postseason, which is when teams are really judged. If this were 7 years ago and Rod had just taken over the Canes and you're coming off of whatever it was, a bunch of years of not good hockey, then yeah, 8 out of 10, you win 8 out of 10, pure celebration will overlook the flaws. At this point, no, if you think there's something, a little check engine light on, yeah, point it out. It does not mean you think the team is bad. So we are going to do hurricanes and cons. We are. And we're going to say what we're concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes. You're allowed to be concerned about a team that you have high opinions of. That's my opening statement. Now, Dennis, give us what you are concerned about. We start with the bad news, as always.
Depth scoring for this team. To me, especially over the last half of the season, if you look since the start of the calendar year of 2025, the Carolina Hurricanes have played 34 games. In that stretch, they've scored 100 goals. In that stretch, 100 goals in 34 games, that's just over 3 a game.
I was typing it in right now. 100 divided by 34, 2.94.
I'm sorry, 2.94. Yeah, so it's right around 3 a game. But it's on the wrong side of 3.
Yep.
If you look at since that stretch of time, Andrei Svechnikov has scored 6 goals. I know he's been hurt, but even if you go back before the injury, he only has 1 goal since the start of February. And again, I know injury aside, but again, only 1 goal in that stretch of games he's played since the start of February. So that's something you have to take into account as well. Jack Roslovic has 4 goals in the calendar year. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, right around that same number. I think he's at 5. Outside of Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis, there has not been consistent scoring with this team. Now, you anticipated and hoped that Mikko Rantanen was going to be that. Obviously, that it didn't work out. It's what it is. Believe it or not,
did Mikko Rantanen, did something went on this year?
Allegedly. Mark Jankowski has more goals in the stretch of games that he's been with this team since the trade deadline that a lot of these guys that are supposed to be top 6 players, top 6 forwards, are producing. So, yes, there is a legit concern about secondary scoring after you get outside of Aho and Jarvis. It has to be more than just those 2 guys that consistently get on the stat sheet, because If Aho isn't on the stat sheet or Jarvis isn't on the stat sheet, where is it coming from? It has not consistently come from any of these guys.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I would not be surprised. Matter of fact, I'd be surprised if this wasn't true. I bet you since Jankowski joined the team, he's leading the team in goals.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
100% is.
I mean, it's not great right there.
I mean, good for him. I mean, like, I'm not trying to discount obviously what he's doing, but to ask Mark Jankowski to be something that he hasn't been in his career is not a good form of practice.
Yeah, we don't want Jankowski to stop scoring goals. We want other guys to start scoring goals more consistently.
I mean, if you have Jesperi Kokiniemi, or sorry, Jack Roslovic, since the start of the calendar year, has 4 goals and 6 assists in 2025. He did miss one game, illness.
And by the way, like, you could throw Jackson Blake in there.
Yes,
you could
100% throw Jackson Blake into that mix as well.
Some of the blue liners who maybe you would hope would toss in a few more. Like, it's not a one-person thing. Goal scoring at the levels that we expect from the Canes hasn't been happening. Which maybe you're like, oh, the Canes set the bar too high. Well, that happens.
I mean, if you look at the second line that has Kokiniemi, Roslovic, and Taylor Hall right now. Now, Andrei Svechnikov looks like he's set to play tomorrow. We can get into that in a little bit. But Roslovic, 4 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Kokiniemi, 5 goals in the calendar year of 2025. Taylor Hall has like 5 goals in the last 3 games.
He scored 4 consecutive for the
yes.
The
so I mean, it's again, there has to be more secondary scoring outside of the quote unquote top guys.
My concern is nearly the exact opposite, and it is not. It's like more about my reaction than it is about the actual performance. My concern is the goalies.
Really?
And here's why. I have no reason based on that's a great way to start convincing argument. I have no reason. The goalies have been playing really well the past 20 games, right? Like, statistically, for a while, Pyotr Kochetkov was one of the hottest goalies in the league. Freddie Anderson has been really, really good as of late. And I thought that would alleviate some, maybe it's like flashbacks, right? Like old worries popping up. But I thought that would eliminate my concerns, right? Because so often over the last 5 years, goaltending has kind of been one of the things that have held them back in the postseason. And then Pyotr Kochetkov had 2 rough outings. 2. Saturday, and then their most recent game. The 2 rough outings, 2 shaky games, whatever you want to call it. And I couldn't help it but get nervous for the goaltending. I couldn't help but go, oh no. Does this mean Freddie's going to have to play more? I don't like it when Freddie has to have a huge workload. Oh, no. Is his durability going to act up? Is this going to be a real thing for Pyotr? And I don't, those are intrusive thoughts. I didn't want them to pop into my head, but they did. And if I were really confident in the goaltenders, 2 games wouldn't shake me at all. 2 games would be like, oh, darn, maybe he ate some bad pasta. It would just be like, oh, no, this is nothing. But I can't help that the intrusive thoughts jumped into my head. So until they go a postseason with really strong postseason play, and they're not giving up the traditional 1 to 2 softies a game, I'm just going to be concerned. And I don't like that about myself, but I had to acknowledge it on the air. Other than that, they've actually been really, really good at keeping pucks out of the net. But that's the reason. How good they've been, I shouldn't be where I am now. But there's always that post. It's like Josh Allen. Josh Allen, everything he's done over the past couple of years tells me I should have nothing but confidence in him. When he gets to the postseason, I'm still I think he's gonna pitch it to no one. And that's not fair, but it's until he gets over the hump, it's just gonna be a concern of mine. Until the goalies play really well in the postseason, I guess I'm just gonna have to live with that concern. So I'm concerned about it, whether it's rational or not. Let's get to the fun part. What are you confident about when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes, Dennis?
Ironically, it factors in goaltending. It's the penalty kill. You're the best penalty kill in the entire league.
That's rational.
That's it. That's it. Penalty kill is the best in the entire NHL. Confidence, done. I rest my case.
My confidence, and this goes along with what I've been having a good time discussing, is depth. The depth is impressive, right? Because for every time I say, it's a fun exercise. When Svett, who, by the way, what's the update on Svett?
Swett said after practice today, he says he feels like he should be ready to return tomorrow in the lineup.
So Swett is looking like he's trending towards a return. We hope William Carrier will be returning soon from an injury that's kept him out a while. If they both do, the Canes have a really tough decision on which forward to healthy scratch. Every time I bring that up, somebody reminds me it's a first world problem, right? Somebody reminds me it's a good problem to have. It's better to have a tough decision on who to sit than it is to have a tough decision on who to play. And I completely agree with that, which is why I'm confident in it, right? And like even with you're bringing up, Roslovic hasn't been scoring as much as of late. When Jack Roslovic signed, if you would have said through 70 games he's going to have 21 goals, it's like, you know what? All right, that's a pretty good depth piece, right? Pretty good depth piece. I think Jankowski, you would have signed up and said he's going to have 7 goals the rest of the year. You probably would have been like, sign me up. He has had essentially that much in less than 10 games. Robinson has done some good things. Gostisbehere is a newcomer. I've really liked what he's done at times. I think Kotkaniemi at times has been a really solid kind of bottom two-line center / two center in a pinch. Like there's some depth there. Scott Morrow, when he's pulled up, has played, done some good things back there on the defensive side. So depth is what I'm looking at. I do think there needs to be a little bit more production from the top-heavy guys, right? To use a term that comes about twice a year from Rod. The top guys have to play like top guys. I think there could be a little bit more of that, but I have confidence that, you know, they've got 13 forwards that I really like as NHL forwards in their role, which is not a lot of teams can say that. That's Hurricanes and Cons here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. As always, even with my opening statement, if you have feedback, feel free. At Donnelly Sports on Twitter. For me, Dennis would be at The Fan Rookie, and you can always comment on our YouTube live stream comments as well. Tonight, transitioning to the matchup in the Sweet 16, featuring the Duke Blue Devils against Arizona tonight. I want to have this on record. Duke is still a wagon. Duke is still a team that is a wildly heavy favorite, even though it's the Sweet 16. I've said it. It's kind of common knowledge. Once you get to the Sweet 16, everybody's good. Anybody can win. And to an extent, that is true. But when you go into the Sweet 16 and you're a 9.5-point favorite, when you go into the Sweet 16 and I'm looking roster for roster against your opponent and going, you are pretty much just significantly more talented than your opponent, that is both a gift and a curse, right? The gift is you're more talented than your opponent, right? If any coach got to choose, they're choosing being more talented significantly. But also, it's kind of a no-win for Duke. If they win, great, you were supposed to. If they lose, it becomes catastrophic. The team that Duke has this year is kind of already being judged by history. Right, we had a caller on our little Monday sound-off call in and called this year's Duke team the best in Duke history. And my immediate thought was, well, there's a cover charge to even get in that conversation, and the entry fee is a national championship. But they're already being tossed in there. Leonard Hamilton. I was reading an article about Cooper Flagg on ESPN.com. Leonard Hamilton, long time, 23, 24 years as the head coach at Florida State in the ACC. He's retiring, or he retired at the end of this season, was quoted, an article about Flagg, by the way, and he was asked about Flagg. He responded with this. I have the quote in front of me. I think Flagg is an outstanding, very gifted athlete, but I think the fact that they play so well together gives him a chance to be the best version of who he is. That's very nice about Flagg. This next part is the one that gets you. This edition of the Duke Blue Devils, they are the most efficient, executing team that we played against in the Duke era. Not to take away from all the great teams that Coach K had, this team just seemed to be the most connected. That is, and by the way, end of quote, that is wildly high praise from Leonard Hamilton, who, by the way, coached against a 35-5 national championship Duke team that featured John Shire, ironic, Nolan Smith, Kyle Singler and crew. He coached against the 35-4 national championship team that featured Jahlil Okafor, Justice Winslow, Tyus Jones. And he's saying this one is the most connected. If you win, you were supposed to. If you lose, all the hype was wrong. But they're like, you know, I did the whole exercise earlier. Like, try to find the ways that Arizona wins. It's been the most the most obvious thing to me about Duke and how well, like, you know, I picked them to win the national championship before this season. I've been high on their ability for a very long time. And Dennis, the thing that you've kind of settled in on is position, or what is it, lineup versatility? Lineup versatility. It really is about the billion different ways a college basketball game can go. Right? You can have the best laid plan, and at the first media timeout, you're crumpling up your game plan and throwing it out because something has happened. An injury, foul trouble, another team is hot. They're playing a lineup differently. They came out in zone, right? Whatever it is, no matter how much you plan, you have to be able to adjust. And if you look at a basketball game and say there's a million different ways that it could go, I think it's a wild majority of the different things that Duke could do that could be the difference in their win or loss. Right? I think a lot of teams have a really good player. And if that player plays well, that is piece number one for their team getting a win. And if Cooper Flagg plays well, that helps Duke a bunch. But if he doesn't, they've got other lottery picks. If he doesn't, they can lock down on defense. If Cooper Flagg's offense isn't working, he might be the best defensive player in the country. If his defense isn't working, he might be able to go outscore you. He put up 42 in a single game earlier this year. If Con Knipple gets beat on the perimeter, you have Kaman Malawash back there to spike the ball into the second row. It's so many different paths for them. And because of that, I'm not easing up on my expectations at all. Right, when we went into the UNC game against Ole Miss in the round of 64, I said if they lose, this season's still a big disappointment, regardless of the fact that a week earlier you weren't sure if they were going to make it in the NCAA tournament at all, and then going into the Ole Miss game, they had already won an NCAA tournament game. I'm going like, that's great for some programs. For UNC, you lose this one, it's a disappointment. Duke going in to play Arizona, who is a talented program with, All-American last year on the team in Caleb Love and a bunch of money to spend on their basketball program. A lot of teams would go into this game saying, hey, even if we lose, we made it to the Sweet 16. We dueled with a blue blood. For Duke, no. If Duke loses tonight, we have a show tomorrow. I am like putting I'm requiring myself right now. If Duke loses tomorrow, we're saying it's a disappointing season. Even though might be the most dominant regular season in ACC history. Even though they won an ACC championship. Even though they made it to the Sweet 16 out of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. If they lose, it is a disappointing season, in part because with great talent comes great responsibility. If you have 3 top 10 picks and you have the veterans that they have, and Tyrese Proctor is shooting it like he has, and Mason Gillis is the Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year from last year, and Shire is putting it together as a coach in his third year, if all of that is happening, Sweet 16 does nothing for me. 9.5-point favorite? That'll be my concession. That'll be my concession. You don't have to win by double figures. A win is a win. That's my concession. No matter how talented you are, if you win by an inch or you win by a mile, I'll say it's a good day. But if you lose, I don't care how the game script goes, it's a disappointing season for Duke. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you agree or disagree, you can always head to our YouTube comments. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube, live stream. If you comment, might just get picked for our Feedback Frenzy, which is coming up. Also, right now, different kind of bracket time. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. And in this 16-watch elimination watch bracket that we've been putting together, I've had the difficult decision of choosing the winner of some epic watch matchups. And for today, we go to one of the most epic watch matchups, the Rolex Explorer 2 up against the Omega Constellation. Two of the best-known, best-selling watch brands, which, by the way, you can get a wide assortment of at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, specifically their Village District location in Raleigh, where they have the largest pre-owned and vintage Rolex selection in the state of North Carolina and the largest of its kind Omega Boutique. It's a shop within a shop, all at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location. They put the Rolex Explorer 2 up against the Omega Constellation. Brutal in the first bracket because they're truly iconic watches. The Omega Constellation is a really interesting place in the Omega lineup because it's a little bit dressier, but you can kind of wear it with everything. I like the versatility of straps. You can have the bracelet, you can have the strap, you can put something silicone there. It's really cool. The Rolex Explorer 2, it's going to be one of the more versatile, one of the more rugged Rolex out there. So they're both great options. I think you should try them on just to get it just to know how powerful they make you feel. But for this first-round matchup, I think I'm going to go with the Constellation because I'm feeling a little classy. I'm feeling a little less rugged today and a little more like I want to be dressed to the nines. So I'm going Omega, Constellation in that one, but that was another very difficult decision. Check them out, Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location in Raleigh, Fox and Bailey Watch Shop inside, Omega Boutique inside as well. When you're there, let them know you heard about it from me on 99.9 The Fan. Feedback Frenzy is coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
The Adam Gold Show.
Hey, I know Cooper Flagg didn't win all of the awards. He won the two major ones. He got Player of the Year. He got Rookie of the Year. Neither were unanimous, which blows my mind. But he should have won Defensive Player of the Year as well. And John Shire was the Coach of the Year. Yes, I know Duke has all these great players. They were 19-1. They were 28-3. Historical point differential. Come on.
The Adam Gold Show, weekday starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
It's Chevy Truck Month at Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford, which means you can get up to $7,000 in discounts on a brand new 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 with Turbo Max engine. Savings include bonus cash, trade assistance, and purchase allowance. Plus, check out 2.9% financing for 72 months and deferred monthly payments for 90 days. See dealer for full details. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Hurry to Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8968. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8968. That's 800-575-8968. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote with no hard credit pull, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Here comes Cooper the other way. 15-20 to go. Flag.
Gonna wait for help. Now he'll drive. Got by Boswell. Goes up, off the window in town. He's just toying with Illinois right now.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We often tell you to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube. You can find them just by searching 99.9 The Fan on the various outlets. But we do that in part because we want your voice to be heard, and one of the ways that we hear it is something we call a feedback frenzy. Dennis peruses all the comments, all the questions, concerns, whatever you have, all of your feedback, and he brings it to the show and we react. So, Dennis, where do we start?
All right, so earlier today we had a conversation about Duke basketball facing Arizona tonight in the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
This video is already up on our YouTube page, and this one actually comes from DH the Composer. Talking about Caleb Love's comments about getting the ball out of Tyrese Proctor's hands and into the hands of others. Saying this is what DH the Composer said. What's interesting from Caleb was the shifting the ball to guys we want with the ball in their hands. Well, who? Because they have playmakers all over the floor.
I think it's, well, first of all, great point, right? And that's part of what I was talking
point.
about with like the multiverse, right? If, okay, you take it out of Tyrese Proctor's hands, let's play out what would happen if you put it in Con Knippel's hands. Let's see what would happen if you put it in Cooper Flagg's hands. And you go down that path, and it's like, well, it still leads to a bucket. I think what you have to try to do is get it to spots like Tyrese Proctor isn't as comfortable maybe in the short corner, right? Run him off the three-point line and make him kind of play in that middle ground. Come on, Malawash. He's obviously going to be comfortable catching lobs, but the further from the bucket that you get the ball in his hands, the less comfortable he'll be. You have to maybe it's not the people you force the ball to, it's the positions, the places on the floor you force the ball to. Because if there's anything we've learned watching Duke the last 3 games is you definitely don't want Proctor open near the three-point line. So run him off the line, see if maybe that's a way to change it up. But it's a great point. I mean, there's no Bruce Bowen out there where you're like, he's out there for his defense. He can't go ahead and, handle it offensively. No disrespect to Bruce Bowen from 20 years ago.
It's a heck of a reference, by the way. Bruce Bowen, San Antonio Spurs. All right.
Also, good bow ties. He's a bow tie guy.
He was a big bow tie guy. North Carolina, Hubert Davis spoke yesterday in his radio show. We played some of the audio clips of that earlier today. That conversation that we had regarding Hubert Davis, talking about the offseason changes and everything that needs to take place in terms of getting size and finding guys that actually can handle playing at the University of North Carolina and all the scrutiny that comes with it. So in that conversation, our YouTube comments on that video that's posted on our YouTube, this one comes from Meat Tooth. Meat Tooth 1303. Great name. Said, need size? Really? Never would have thought that. Shaking my head. You do not need to take a breather and reflect. You had all season to take notes on weaknesses and also scenarios, i.e. if so-and-so stays or leaves, what will be needed.
Yeah, and actually I think that's part of why general managers, GMs have become so important in college basketball. Because I don't think, or actually here, let me put it this way. Coaching a college basketball team takes a lot of energy, focus, preparation, right? Just getting ready for the next game. There's not enough hours in the day. So, right, if there's not enough hours in the day to be prepared for your Wednesday night game against Louisville, if you take a day, half day out of your prep to evaluate the portal or what if this guy leaves, then you're even less prepared for Louisville. So what you have to be able to do, and this is going to be tough for college coaches, specifically the ones that have been college coaches for a long time, you have to delegate. For a long time, college coaches, they're the grand poobah, right? They're be-all, end-all. I make the decisions. I decide who we offer scholarships to. I decide what the game plan is. I decide. Now it's going to have to be the GM's going to handle a lot of roster management, and they're going to run it by you, but what happens if this guy playing out all the scenarios? It's going to be someone else's job. So get your GM in place, make it be someone you trust. And by the way, director of basketball operations, head of college scouting, whatever you want to call it, get that person in place So the coach can focus on coaching, and someone else is handling all the other things that you need to have ready at a moment's notice for if and when guys leave in the portal.
Okay, earlier this week, we do it every Monday. We have a Monday sound off. This is where opportunity for people to call in, usually 3:30 every Monday, and sound off. We actually had Dean from Rocky Mount call in earlier this week.
Oh, yeah.
And basically cut a promo on Will Wade being the next head coach for NC State men's basketball, saying this guy's going to be the best coach that the state of North Carolina has ever seen. And we're talking national championships. Then the women are going to go win a national championship this year for women's basketball under Wes Moore. So we actually posted that clip on our TikTok page. We have 99 on the fan. Believe it or not, we have a TikTok as well. It's also on Instagram. But on TikTok, Jonathan McCullough said, typical state fans get a new coach, and it's going to change everything for them. And then they get disappointed because UNC and Duke crush all their hopes and dreams.
First of all, fair, right? To the victor goes the spoils. To the winner goes the trash talk. And NC State didn't make the ACC tournament this year, so talk your trash. I will say that the reason, and I said this the moment Will Wade took the job, the reason I think it's a good hire and the reason why I think State fans should be excited is not just because they have a new coach. It's because Will Wade took the NC State job, and based on everything he said, there was a list of things he needed from a program in order for him to take a job, and one of those was more resources. So it's not just like new coach is going to fix everything. It's the new coach that is here signifies that there's greater resources committed to the program and that there's more assistants, more staffing, more all of these other things committed to the program. So it's not just the new coach, although that's a big part of it. It's also the things that attracted the new coach to the job are things that fans should also be excited about. I think State's going to be a better program. Obviously, they don't get to talk trash about being a better program until they go out and prove it on the court. So get your shots in now. Like, that's how it works. Get your shots in now.
All right, the conversation we had earlier this week on YouTube, Stephen Burris, my apologies, about Will Wade getting hired, saying, I'm psyched for next basketball season. For the first time in a long time, NC State men's basketball seems to have the right coach, a real coach.
I've seen a lot of that. And it's crazy to me. And there's no disrespect to the individuals. It's just hard for me to fathom. I've heard a lot of, this is the most excited I've been in years for NC State basketball. They were in a Final Four like 14 months ago.
Yeah, not even.
Like
12 months ago.
Yeah, like 11 and a half. Like that. I don't know. I would be excited by that. I'm glad that, and I'm glad that you are excited now, and I'm happy that you're finding joy rooting for your favorite team. But there's probably a bit of exaggeration on how low it got with Kevin Keatts. I know this year stunk. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't all bad, right? Maybe it's a thing with time. Maybe it's a thing where, when at the 20th anniversary of the Final Four, where they all come back and DJ Burns is there, and his smile is every bit as magnetic, but you can tell the knees maybe don't work as well, right? And Kevin Keatts is there, you can look at it and remember the good times. But right now, people are really low on the past 20 years of NC State basketball. They're just Will Wade is the most excited I've been since I was 9 years old, and I'm 50. It's like, really? Nothing good has happened in that. All right, fine.
I think the term they're looking for is optimistic.
Yeah, they're just, and by the way, you should be optimistic. I'm just
be.
I'm just saying it hasn't been all bad. There's been a few moments, a few big wins. Final Four. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9. The Fan Feedback Frenzy, one of my favorite times of the week. Right now, Dennis has something else he'd like to pass along to you.
Folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. I need to inform everyone out there that this is the time of year you're going to see a lot of motorcycles out there on the road. You're starting to see it a lot more now. I might be one of those people on a motorcycle. So be safe when you're out there, when you're driving. Just be aware. But also for fellow motorcycle riders, make sure you are safe out there. If you need to take the bike out and, kind of get the feel for things again, if you've been off the bike, over the winter time, make sure you do it safe. Everything's in proper working order before you get on the bike and get back out there on the road. And make sure you stay safe. But imagine yourself, if you are a hockey fan, riding around on a custom Canales motorcycle. Think about that, because the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and the Carolina Hurricanes, they've teamed up once again to give one lucky fan a Canales motorcycle. But this year, it's a little bit even more special. It's added to it. They've upped their game. It's a custom-built Canales motorcycle. Custom built. It is a one-of-one. Go to caniacsbike.com. You'll see the pictures of the bike yourself. I've seen it in person a couple times, and I've seen more and more details about this motorcycle every single time I take a look at it. It is absolutely gorgeous. I wish I could have it. I can't. You can. Just go to caniacsbike.com, enter for your chance to win. You have until April 6th. That's right around the corner, folks. That's less than a week and a half. Go to caniacsbike.com, enter for your chance to win. The bike will be given away on the ice in the last home game of the year. Go to caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back with the starting five, and we will start with Major League Baseball starting today. Opening day. Stick around.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but that doesn't mean me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as the NFL draft approaches, insight on free agents and prospects, plus all the insider info on who the Panthers want to pick at number 8. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain or just struggling with daily activities because of discomfort in your knees, back, or other parts of your body? Well, I've got great news. It's called DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, a solution that can help you get back to feeling like yourself again without the risks of invasive surgery or long-term prescription drug use. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness is a regenerative medicine clinic. Their innovative treatment options address the root cause of your pain to promote healing and prevent re-injury for long-lasting pain relief. If you have arthritis, joint pain, sports injuries, or other conditions, their highly trained medical providers will develop a cutting-edge treatment plan tailored just for you with little to no downtime. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness can get you back to doing the things you love. Call DaVita Med Spa and Wellness today, spelled DVIDA. Call 984-333-1313, 984-333-1313, 984-333-1313.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-330-9444. 800-330-9444. Again, that's 800-330-9444.
Which of us, detective, do you suspect is the millionaire?
The evidence is everywhere. Your diamond necklace, Monty's new yacht, and the butler's new convertible. Admit it, you're all Maximilian scratch-off winners.
Of course we are. With 25 prizes of $1 million, you could be too.
New Maximilian from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 2.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Weather.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. After a mighty cold start this morning, we warmed up nicely this afternoon. Tonight, we'll see increasing clouds, not nearly as cold, 47 the low. Tomorrow is partly cloudy, breezy, and much warmer, a little bit more humid, 81 the high.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones this afternoon at the closing bell down 155 points to 42,299. Market update brought to you by Enbridge Gas, formerly Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas. Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas customers are now proudly served by Enbridge Gas. Looking forward to a bright future together. To learn more, visit enbridgegas.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting five, so let's go ahead and jump right into number 5.
1. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Keep practicing.
It is Major League Baseball opening day.
Yep, keep practicing.
Yankees up 2-1 on the Brewers. Orioles, that's in the top of the 6th. Orioles, end of the 5th, lead the Blue Jays 6-2. Bottom of the 4th, Phillies and Nationals, knotted at 0. Top 4, let's see, Red Sox and Rangers, tied at 1 run apiece. Top 4, Pirates, Marlins. Marlins lead 1-zippy. Reds lead the Giants 3-zippy. Top of the 4th. End of the 3rd, we have the White Sox 3, Angels 0. Guardians trail the Royals 3-0. Top of the 4th. Mets there's a lot of games. Mets trail the Astros 1-0. Bottom of the 3rd. What'd you say?
I like the day games.
Padres lead the Braves 2-1. That is the top of the 3rd. And of course, the Twins and Cardinals are in a rain delay in the top of the 1st.
Of course.
Hot start for the Twins and Cardinals.
So what fan base has already said their season's over? That's what I'm curious. Is it the Mets, Yankees?
Definitely
Yankees
not.
are up 2-1.
Angels probably.
Yeah,
they're down 3-0.
Let's eliminate the obvious.
Yeah.
The Pirates, the Marlins, the Athletics, the Rays.
Yeah, maybe the Twins. They're in a rain delay. Forget it.
You know what? Who cares? Minnesota's playing in the Frozen Four tournament.
All right, here's everybody has their takes on MLB, Major League Baseball, opening day. How much does it matter? Here's what I love about opening day, and it kind of goes along with what Dennis was joking about there. Hope springs eternal. Everybody, you don't know if this is the magical season, right? No matter who your favorite team is, you're not sure if this is the year you put it together, and it is glorious. 162 games staring you in the face, the dog days, way out there in the distance. But it's like picking a lottery ticket, right? I'm definitely not going to win. Chances aren't going to win. But maybe I should look at my dream car just in case, right? It's the same thing. Twins, they're not going to win. Not going to win. Our pitching, and they're not going to win. But I don't know, where wins the World Series? Maybe I should just look into rates, see if there's a hotel, or maybe I'd book it. I could always cancel, right? The hope springs eternal. The other thing, and this is my answer to everyone that complains about Major League Baseball. It's not about you anymore. Opening day, all the day games, you heard Dennis bring it up. It's about the kids. For whatever reason, baseball, opening day, it has a special connection with the kids. What does every single complaint about baseball start with? Ready?
It's hard to watch games. Games take too long.
Well, there's like the streaming element, but also like have you ever seen like a 9-year-old work like an iPad or something? They know how to get where they need to go.
It's weird.
Every complaint that I hear about baseball, and I hear a lot of them because I'm a sports radio host, so you get to talking with people at like a happy hour, and they're like, yeah. Here's what every single one starts with. When I was a kid, they used to do blah, blah, blah. When I was a kid, you didn't have to work so hard to watch a game. When I was a kid, actually, Adam Gold just gave me one on the way out as we were switching studios here.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, when I was a kid, the Reds started every single season. They had opening pitch at noon. Nobody else played till at least 12:30 because the Reds are the oldest franchise. And he was saying, when I was a kid, they should. And that's a perfect example. I'm not knocking at him for it, right? Because everybody has the same thing. I'm saying, I don't know. I don't really care if the Reds are the first team to go. Like, it's. I don't think 10-year-olds are walking around going like, the Reds, they need to go first. It's for the kids. Baseball cards, trading cards, and not the kind of trading cards that you put in like a glass case and you never touch because it's going to be worth $50,000 as soon as that guy enters the Hall of Fame. I'm talking about the cards that you put in your pocket. You might even put in the spokes of your bike to make it sound like a motorcycle, like trading card. Baseball, it's a kid's thing. Opening day and staying up to watch the game because there's a no-hitter going. Like, it's not special for me. I'm an adult. I stay up late watching sports every single night. But when there's a no-no going with your favorite team and you're 12, you get to stay up a little past bedtime. Another example. Earlier today, we were in a meeting, the icebreaker at the meeting. We do all staffs. It's, icebreaker, what's your favorite, whatever. Question was, who was your idol when you were 10 years old? The first three men in the room, the first thing that was said was Spice Girls. So that was...
Shout out Victoria.
There you go. The first three men to speak all said baseball players. Don Mattingly, Mike Piazza, Leo Mazzilli. I'd venture to guess that, and by the way, Piazza was mine, so I'll speak for me. Of the major sports, it's the one I watch least now. But when I was 9, you could not tell me I was not going to be Mike Piazza. My username, screen name, the number at the end, 31, Mike Piazza. Like, it's so when people are like, oh man, opening day isn't what it used to be. I'm like, no, it is. You're not what you used to be. You used to be a diehard 12-year-old memorizing stat baseball fan, and now you're a grizzled adult that can't take your entire Thursday and watch baseball. So it's cold hard facts. It's the same thing, I real quick, because it's a Star. Dennis is telling me to move on, but it's Star Wars, so I think it will stick.
Go on. All right. You have time.
Everyone that loved the first three and then absolutely hated the prequels that came out, 25 years later, whatever. I think part of that is because you weren't the kid you were that you watched the first three, right? If you saw the first three when you were 10, that means you saw the next ones when you were 35. I think you might have changed. The magic of the aliens is still kind of there. I'm talking about, like, it's same with baseball. That's all I'm saying. Now we can move on. That was number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
I'll just jump in here. And that's going to be the appropriate start for this one.
Apparently my thing's muted, but that's fine. Go on.
Panthers ticket prices are going up.
Oh, well, no wonder it got silent.
That's what I was going to say. It's kind of an appropriate, screeching halt to the show. Team spokesperson told the Charlotte Observer that the prices will go up by an average of just over 6% for this coming season. Keep in mind, they were the 8th worst team in the league last year, and they were the worst team in the league the year before, and they were, the 9th worst team in the league the year before that, and you get the gist, right? Some tickets will be keeping the same price. There's some upper bowl seats where it's going to be the exact same, $510 for the lowest price package of tickets. Here's my because I've seen the angry, right? If I'm going to pay more, I'm going to want a better product. I mean, I see the logic. Everything in the NFL is getting more expensive. Because here's the thing, they're raising their prices. They're going to stay right about in the same spot as far as average ticket price in the league. So they're not getting more money in relative to the rest of the league. So it's kind of, if you want to be like more money means more results, you kind of got to give even more money. It's a tough spot. It's a tough spot. I would not expect a better product because prices went up 6% in tickets.
I think for a lot of fans, it's not just I want a better product on the field. I'm like, well, what else are you offering me at the game in terms of in-game entertainment between quarters and halftime? What else am I getting other than still watching football that's being played on the field? Because that's not changing, obviously. But if I'm going to pay more to go to a stadium, I'm going to need better amenities, better food options, whatever it might be. I'm going to need that if I'm also at the arena or stadium, wherever these games are taking place.
I hear you. I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're still like. I think what they're
Then
saying.
why go?
I think they're saying there's enough of demand. They're saying if you don't, someone else will. And
have you seen Bank of America Stadium?
But it's. I mean, finances, right? They're getting the money, especially season tickets. Even if you're not there, they're cashing the check. I don't pretend to be a financial wizard. David Tepper, I think, does fancy himself a financial wizard. So I'm sure they found the break-even equilibrium, and they're maximizing their profits, and that's kind of how they're making it happen. But again, I don't pretend to be a financial wizard. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. What number was that? That was number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Svechnikov out of the corner. He scores! Nothing bashful on that play. Andrei Svechnikov extends the Canes' lead. It's 2-0, and that's the Magic.
The Canes don't play till tomorrow. And for some reason, it does feel like they've had more days off recently. But they don't play till tomorrow. Dennis, what is the latest on Andrei Svechnikov, who has missed now, 7 games?
7 straight games. So this is according to Walt Ruff, Hurricanes.com, friend of the show.
Shout out, Walt.
Andrei Svechnikov, after practice today, he did practice in full with the team. Wasn't just an extra guy out there on the ice. Andrei Svechnikov said he feels, quote, should be ready.
All right.
To return to the lineup tomorrow as the Canes take on the Montreal Canadiens.
Now, I believe Walt also did some reporting on what line he was skating with today at practice.
Yes, so at practice today, he basically took Tyson Joe's spot alongside Mark Jankowski and Eric Robinson on the quote-unquote fourth line. But hey,
we don't
you know
number
what?
lines.
Hey, that's what I said, quote-unquote fourth line. But hey, that line's been scoring a bunch. Hey, putting Svech with the goal scorer like Jankowski right now. I'm for it.
I'll put you on the spot for this one. If we assume that his first game isn't like the line he skates with is set in stone, part of it at least is seeing what form he's in, healthy, all that kind of stuff. Once he settles in and we know like Svech is back, what line does he skate with?
I think logically, he ends up skating with Kokiniemi and with Taylor Hall. I think getting him back in, quote-unquote, fourth-line minutes just to kind of get his legs back a little bit. But I think eventually he and Roslovic will get flipped. I mean, may even happen even during the game tomorrow, if we're being honest.
Can I tell you what quite a few fans are either expecting or hoping for?
What's that?
Takes Jackson Blake's spot on the first line.
It's understandable.
To give a little bit more size to a top line, especially as you get close to the postseason, that maybe is lacking in what Coach Brendan Moore calls heavy players.
That makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
I think that's one of the first dominoes as far as like getting ready for the postseason is figuring out where, if Svech is healthy and in form and all of that and in conditioned, where he fits in. And then because then the trickle down is, right, if he goes up to the first line, where does Blake go? And if Blake takes Roslovic, where's Roslovic go? And it's that whole trickle down thing, and you got to make the first domino fall before the fifth domino can fall. So we're getting there. And then Carrier's waiting in the wings somewhere, hopefully to be healthy enough to go. And he's another heavy player, and you need those guys in the postseason. Postseason hockey's a little physical. I don't know if you've heard.
Allegedly.
That is number 3. Any other news coming out of the Canes? I haven't seen any.
No, that's really about it.
Cool. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Cooper chases to the right. He's got it. Draws Spillers into the paint to the rack to throw it down with 2 hands and stretch the lead to 4.
That's Duke. They play tonight, Sweet 16 against Arizona. There's actually 4 Sweet 16 games tonight. At 7:09, be the first one to tip off. Number 6-seeded BYU against 2nd-seeded Alabama. At 7:39, expected tip. And those will be pretty accurate because they're the first games at the locations. Number 4, Maryland, or 4th-seeded. I keep saying number 4. 4th-seeded Maryland against top seed in that region, Florida. And then 10th-seeded Arkansas, the longest shot to be playing in the Sweet 16. We'll be taking on 3rd-seeded Texas Tech. That one, 10:09 expected start, but it'll be later than that. And then, of course, Duke and Arizona. Quickly here, because we have been and we will continue to talk about Duke, Arizona. I want to look at the rest of the Sweet 16 today. What are we looking at? Kind of give the vibe. For BYU, Alabama, I kind of like the BYU vibe in this. BYU's coach left, right? Mark Pope was the coach at BYU. He left to take the Kentucky job last year. And BYU mostly stayed. A couple followed, but if you look at like where most of the BYU teams started their career, most of them started at BYU, which is, loyal to the old saying when I was going through the recruiting process was commit to a school, not a coach, because the coach can change, but the school won't.
Yes.
I think that's becoming less and less true. Mm-hmm. You commit to a coach, and if the coach leaves, you just follow. But it seems like the BYU guys really did commit to a school, and that's kind of old school. So that's kind of cool. And then Alabama's the exact opposite, right? They have Nate Oates. They've got big money. People say they try to buy titles, and they're trying to do like the football thing where they're just like, hey, we've got the most boosters. We can win at everything. And so it's the dichotomy, right? It's the one way or the other way. And that's kind of a nice little storyline if you don't have a horse in the race, so to speak. Maryland, Florida. This one is fascinating. Florida is a wagon, and we saw them up close and personal in the Raleigh location for the first two rounds. But UConn did take them to the limit. And if you ask Dan Hurley, UConn should have won that game. It's the officials' fault.
He let them know about it.
Yeah.
Every single stoppage. But even the passive aggressive. Hey, he knows he stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows he made a bad call.
I do love that move. Oh, no, he knows he missed it. I love that. It's so over the top. But Florida's really good is what I'm saying. Maryland should be one of the stories of the tournament, right? They're not a favorite. They are gritty. They won on a buzzer beater. Instead, their coach has hijacked all the news cycles, Kevin Willard. I think he's going to be the Villanova coach next year, and he is doing everything he can to throw off whatever rhythm Maryland has. If Maryland wins, they should do it Varsity Blues style. Play the second half with their coach not on the sideline. Remember Varsity Blues? The late, great Paul Walker, injured Lance Harbor, took over the offense because Coach Kilmer. Anyway, they should do that. You know what? Go take the Villanova job. We'll coach ourselves. We run all night. Fast breaks. And then Arkansas, Texas Tech. There's the Arkansas Coach Calipari, John Calipari, their coach. He might be somebody that wears out his welcome. Right? He was great at UMass, bounced. Great at Memphis, bounced. Great at Kentucky for a while, maybe overstayed his welcome, bounced. Now in the first year at Arkansas, they're in the Sweet 16. He might just be one of those guys, like people think Thibodeau is this way in the NBA. Shows up, improves the team rapidly, has a blazing hot little window of contention, and then wears out his welcome. I think Calipari should sign like a 6-year contract wherever he goes, and at the end of that contract, go somewhere else over and over and over again, because that seems to be when it works out best for him. And sometimes he leaves those teams with sanctions and investigations.
Doesn't have to worry about that now.
Well, I think some of the stuff he left him with was academic. It wasn't. It wasn't paying. That's just the way I look at it. And then Texas Tech's just kind of a scrappy little team. They do have JT Toppin, who's the conference player of the year there, sophomore, could be a pro guy down the line.
Former UNC guy, Kerwin Walton, 5th-year guy on Texas Tech.
Very
Came
true.
with the same class as R.J. Davis and Caleb Love.
Those stories are everywhere. Every single team has a connection. Transfer portal, wild place. And then the next Sweet 16 game is going to go ahead and be our number one.
Half the shot clock is gone. Proctor again. Off of the screen set by Malawach. A bruising screen. How about another three? Oh, yeah! Proctor's got 5. 19 points. Back to a 20-point lead.
Tyrese Proctor and Duke taking on Arizona and Caleb Love. Tonight, it is the Sweet 16 game that is obviously most pertinent to our local sports scene. Tyrese Proctor, I don't think everyone quite understands the heater that Tyrese Proctor is on. Tyrese Proctor's career high in three-pointers made in a single game is 6. Over the it's 7 now. As of 4 games ago, it was 6. In the last 3 games, he has averaged over 6 per game. 6 in the ACC championship, 6 in their opener in the NCAA tournament, and 7 in their win over Baylor in the round of 32. And the craziest part about that is the percentage has gotten better with each game. He made 6 in the ACC championship, but he took a bunch. Then he made 6 in the round of 64, and he only took 8. Then he made 7 in the round of 32, and he only took 8. That is an unreal heater. I will use baseball as an example. It's like, well, his career high for strikeouts in a game was 6. Now he does it every game. Now it's like we're cruising through the 4th. He's got 5 every time. It's unbelievable.
He is 19 of his last 30 from 3.
And
it's over 63%.
And do you know what is the outside? I always have to do this. Outside of actually making the shots, do you know what's the most impressive part about the run?
What's that?
He hasn't forced it.
No, it's all in the flow of the game.
There's not a lot of heat checks, right? He's not pulling up at the logo because he's like, I've made my last 5. Let's see what I'm working with here. He's very he's pump faking and passing out. There was actually one time, I think it was in the AC or their most recent game. No, it was in the AC. I forget. They all bleed together. Where he pump fake, stepped to the side, could have launched. And by the way, he had just hit like 2 or 3 pump fake, step to the side, knocked it down. But instead, pump fake, step to the side, saw Sion James wide open for 3, like wide open, made the one more pass. And I'm going, I don't know if there are many basketball players on the planet that are passing up an open 3 when they've hit their last 5, but he did it, right? It's very, very impressive. And if he keeps it up, Duke is going to be very, very difficult to beat by Arizona or anyone else. The more interesting thought experiment is, what if Tyrese Proctor cools off? Because to start the ACC tournament, he was 0 for 10 from 3, right? And that's where him not forcing threes becomes a huge asset, right? If he cools off, he'll accept it, right? Or he'll wait for good shots. He's not going to go, all right, I need to make my 5. I need to get my 4 threes, whatever it is. What else does Duke go to, right? And here's the thing. Arizona does have a 7-footer that they play a decent amount. I'll find his name for you right here. Do have a 7-footer that they play decent amount. Henry Visar. So they have a bit of size down low. Other than that, not a ton of size and strength. I think Duke, if they need to, could bully ball him. They could. I think it's the most underrated part of Cooper Flagg's game is his strength, right? He'll put his shoulder down. When he gets the ball in his left hand especially, watch his right. He'll do some shoving and stuff until the refs call it. I think they could bully ball Arizona a bit. I talked about it earlier. Their 3 leading scorers, Caleb Love, Jaden Bradley, and KJ Lewis, are all 6'4" or shorter, basically 6'3", 6'4" for all of them. Con Knipple can be a little bit of a bully there. He is a wider, stronger guy than you would think a freshman would be. Same with Cooper Flagg. And then, once they start bullying on the perimeter, you know what you see a lot of for the Blue Devils. Lobs. It is when they're operating at their peak performance, what's happening is they're using the pick and roll and they're using just their individual ability to win off the dribble to get into the lane. And we're talking Knipple, we're talking Sion James, we're talking Proctor, we're talking Flagg, really everyone on the perimeter. And as soon as they get into the lane and that backside big man steps over to help, they just throw it somewhere up near the top of the square. And Kaman Malawash or Patrick Gongbo, whoever's in there, or Flagg, you just see their hands rise up, catch, and dunk, and it feels so easy. It's one of those things where I'm just like, do that every play. It's something that I think will prove to be a go-to for them against Arizona, because Arizona is not a team with a ton of big guys that they feel comfortable playing big minutes. We'll continue to break it down, but first, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. That's Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. Here's the deal. How about this for a question for you all, right? You can get interactive with this Miller Lending conversation. Have you noticed how many companies advertise no closing costs on their mortgages, their mortgage brokers, when rates are low? Have you noticed they go silent when rates get a little bit too high? Yeah, I'm sure the answer to that is yes. And I want to point out that Miller Lending is not that way. Don't group them with all the other lenders, because they always offer no closing cost loans. If rates are high or if rates are low, they're there for you to make sure you can refi. If they're high, if you had to lock in an even higher rate, they're there for you to refinance, or they're there to lock in the rate as they stand right now. No cost to you, no closing cost, with the expectation that if and when rates fall, you will jump on that with a refinance to get your monthly payment lowered. It's all happening at Miller Lending, no matter what the rates are. So go ahead and check it out. 919, this is the phone number to call, 919-447-3377, locally owned right here in Cary, 919-447-3377, or visit them online at millerlending.com, millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. Also, we need numbers game contestants. I almost forgot. We have tickets to see country music superstar Thomas Rhett at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 31st. If you want to win the tickets, you have to play the numbers game. To play, we need 2 contestants to call in now. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up next.
We're in the middle of the madness.
Corner 3 by Murray. It's good! Timeout, Clemson!
From the First Four to the national championship.
Blocked by Shoemate and stolen away by McNeese.
All the hoops action will be heard here.
McNeese for the upset. Let the March Madness begin.
The road to San Antonio is driven by Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Fairway Green, and First Horizon Bank. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You know that feeling? That confident, swaggerific feeling that says, look at me, world, I know stuff. Own that feeling with PlaySmart, a fun new go-to resource from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With PlaySmart, get to know the odds, learn tips, set limits and budgets, and make the most of your play. Awesome feeling, right? Right. Play smart, the way smart players play. Visit ncplaysmart.com. Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
A torn ACL, stress fracture, aching back, a hip that's had it, life on hold, and all you want is to get it back. Enter Wake Orthopedics. Our fellowship-trained orthopedists do it all. General, sports, pediatric, joint replacement, fractures, spine, prevention, advanced diagnostics, progressive treatments, minimally invasive procedures, surgeries, and more. Visit wakemed.org/wakeortho and get back your life.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames. Because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster. Which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And guess what? Baseball is here. That's right. Baseball starts this weekend, and FanDuel is giving all customers the chance to take a swing at $500,000 in bonus bets every day from March 27th through the 30th. That's Thursday through Sunday. It's all part of the $500,000 daily home run jackpot. Just use your jackpot profit boost on a player, 2 homer, Shohei Ohtani, $500,000. That's right. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. That's FanDuel.com/AdamGold. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct pick. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game, and the prize for today is country music superstar Thomas Rhett coming to Coastal Credit Union Music Park this July. We have a pair of tickets, and they will be won by either David or Isaiah. It is also Major League Baseball opening day, which many people say is the best sports day on the calendar year. You mix in the Sweet 16, they might have an argument. So that'll be our question. Dennis, you're going to be our judge as always.
Okay.
David, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. The question that you need to answer, and Dennis will pick his favorite answer, that person will get to go first, is what's the best sports day of the year?
Oh, it's got to be today, opening day of baseball and the NCAA tournament going on, so it's got to be today.
All right. Locking in today. That'll be your answer. We'll see if it gets you to go first. Isaiah in Wake Forest. Isaiah, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. The question for you is the exact same. What is the best sports day of the year?
I'm going to have to say the first day of the first round of the NCAA tournament, just basketball all day.
Honestly, we may have had the two best sports days in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
At least both of the answers there. So, Dennis, which one are you going with?
This one's a little tough. I get where David is going with in terms of actually specifically today because you have Sweet 16 and you have opening day. That's never always been the case. I know a lot of people would say Super Bowl Sunday's the best day. Some people might say rivalry Saturday of college football.
Masters Sunday's going
to be up there as well. But the energy around the start of the NCAA tournament, it's hard to top that. That Thursday, so I might go. I am going to go Isaiah and Wake Forest on this one. David and Bahama, good answer. But Isaiah and Wake Forest, I'm going to go ahead and go with that one.
There's no bad answer to any.
There really isn't.
Every day is a good sports day, except for the day before the Major League Baseball All-Star game, because that's the only day where there's no Big Four sports.
Yeah, or the day after the All-Star game. There's literally nothing.
Yeah, I think the day after, though, is the ESPYs, right? And I count that as
I don't
event.
count that.
I like the ESPYs.
Okay, it's not.
Sue me. So who gets to go first? I forget who you picked.
Isaiah.
Isaiah in Wake Forest, you are up first. Are you ready to pick a category?
I am.
All right, the categories are NFL players that played in the NFC North in 2024, NFL players that played in the AFC North in 2024, NBA all-hyphen team, these are players with a hyphen in their name somewhere, or NHL Hurricanes only.
I'll take NBA all-hyphen team.
There it is. Been waiting for someone to pick this category. All right, I will give you the team and the players. You'll give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Los Angeles Lakers.
33.
Correct. Karl Anthony Towns, New York Knicks.
32.
Correct. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Oklahoma City Thunder.
2.
Correct. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Charlotte Hornets.
5.
Incorrect. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Orlando Magic.
3.
Correct. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Charlotte Hornets.
16.
Incorrect. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Charlotte Hornets.
8.
Incorrect. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Charlotte Hornets.
14.
Let's go!
29 seconds.
29. You were cutting it close, but that is a perfect score. I'm excited for that because I've been waiting for someone to pick that category the whole time, and it's been taunting me because those are a lot of long names, and I didn't want to have to mess it up for you. So thank you for getting a perfect score. We'll see if it holds up. Obviously, if the next contestant does it faster, you won't be the winner, but that was still impressive. Who's up now? David and Bahama? Is that where we're going? David, are you there?
Yeah.
All right, the categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players that played in the NFC North in 2024, NFL players that played in the AFC North in 2024, or NHL Hurricanes players only.
Yeah, he picked my one I wanted, but let's try the NFC North.
All right. That category remained untouched for, I think, over a month. It's wild that we had two people that wanted to pick it in the same day. You wanted to go with NFC North? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you the team and the players. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it, but you do need to get all 5 in less than 29 seconds to win. Any questions before we get started?
No, I'm good.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Justin Jefferson, Minnesota Vikings.
18.
Correct. DeAndre Swift, Chicago Bears.
26.
Incorrect. Christian Watson, Green Bay Packers.
Pass.
Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit Lions.
99.
Incorrect. DeAndre Swift, Chicago Bears.
24.
Incorrect. Christian Watson, Green Bay Packers.
25.
Incorrect. Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit Lions.
90.
Incorrect. But close. You gave a good effort. You got Justin Jefferson. For those of you playing at home, DeAndre Swift, number 4. Christian Watson with the Packers, 9. And Aiden Hutchinson with the Lions, 97. Unfortunately, not enough for the win, but hopefully you had some fun playing with us, David.
Oh, yeah, I had a good time, and congratulations for the win.
All right, and we'll pass that along to Isaiah in Wake Forest. Isaiah, you are the winner with a perfect score.
Thank you.
The only one that you struggled with was Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and I have to be honest, that is a deeper pull. At least it was a Hornet, though, for the area. So congratulations on winning. Great job. Stay in the line. Dennis has some info he needs to grab from you to make sure you get your prize. Whew. The hyphens. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Los Angeles Lakers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Oklahoma City Thunder. There's a lot of syllables in there.
Contavious Caldwell-Pope.
Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Orlando Magic. I couldn't do it right there. I said Orlando. I'm as jacked up as he is to get the perfect score, and I didn't actually compete for anything. Been taunting me. But at least now that category is used up, and we'll have a new category there in that spot coming up tomorrow, which is always a nice thing. See a new category, shuffle them up every now and then. And also, our guy David got caught in the same vortex that so many people get caught in. A modern running back, your brain doesn't let you go off of old school traditional running back numbers, right? DeAndre Swift wearing number 4. Your brain is telling you 20s, 30s, 20s. He's a running back. He's got to be in the 20s, 30s, 40s. 4. So if in the future, I remember giving this advice. We used to have just an NBA category, and I used to say if you're just throwing darts, 3, 23, 33. Like those were the numbers that just are used a lot. So if you're just picking random, you might as well pick the higher percentages. My advice for football is just in the back of your mind, know if it is a player that plays now, do not get caught up in the traditional roster jersey numbers, right? A wide receiver doesn't have to be in the 80s. A running back doesn't have to be in the 20s or 30s. A defensive end doesn't have to be in the 90s or the 70s, right? You can pretty much guess that there's a couple single digits at darn near every position. So if you're throwing darts, keep that in mind. That's my advice. I do like to give advice every now and then. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you host enough of those numbers games, you kind of see how people mess up, and you want people to be successful. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is Sweet 16 Day, in addition to Major League Baseball Opening Day. So we talk more about both coming up next, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Don't go anywhere.
Do you ever go to the Carolina Hurricanes games and find yourself thinking, what do the players eat before the game? What are their pregame rituals? What kind of music gets them pumped up ahead of the game? How sacred is the game day nap? What's the postgame mood on the team plane? Check out my new podcast, Iced Tea, with me, Megan LaMontagne. I get to talk to people who spill the tea on the Carolina Hurricanes. Listen to Iced Tea in any podcast app or watch the show on the Fan YouTube channel.
Did you know colon cancer can be detected early or prevented through regular screening?
I have detected Around Earth is the greatest lie ever.
Okay, Roger. My uncle just passed away and I inherited his cockatoo, Roger. He was a member of the Flat Earth Society, so Roger picked up on some of his rhetoric. Anyway, screening, such as a colonoscopy,
Screen these! Screen these!
Roger that, Roger. Moving on. Colonoscopies can detect early-stage colon or rectal cancer or even polyps, which are abnormal growths that can turn into cancer over time.
I'm a flat earth walker.
Come on, Roger. What did I do to my uncle to deserve you? You don't get to choose what you inherit, just like colon cancer. Unlike Roger here, I believe in science. And science says that if colon cancer runs in your family, you're more likely to develop it yourself. Talk to your doctor about when you should start screening. Find out more at coloncancercoalition.org. A message from the Colon Cancer Coalition.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-961-5544. 800-961-5544.
Every season can be punishing for your roof. Mother Nature is a fierce opponent that doesn't take a break, which is why you need RoofWorks on your building maintenance team. Hi, this is Holly from RoofWorks. We specialize in keeping your commercial roof in great condition no matter what the issue may be. We offer roof inspections, roof repairs, and if needed, a full roof replacement. We help determine if there's a problem with your roof and advise you on the most cost-effective way to handle it. Contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
O'Reilly! Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE-certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Y'all ready to rock?
One night only, in front of a packed house, sold out seats, 6 surprise guests, a 14-dish set list, one shot at glory, biscuits, ham, beans. Rock the table this holiday with Country Crock.
Because you just can't beat the taste of Country Crock.
Struggling to get the sleep treatment you need? I'm Megan Giggling, General Manager of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. You shouldn't have to wait for better sleep. Our streamlined process provides for sleep studies, CPAP machines, and supplies, without the long delays you'll find at other sleep centers. At Parkway Sleep, we'll help you get good rest faster and with the care you deserve.
With over 20 years of experience, join countless satisfied customers who have discovered the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit us today at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Dennis occasionally coming out of break. Oh, Dennis is actually on the phone now. I was going to ask him a question, but he's busy producing a show. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As we move towards the Sweet 16 tonight, it is also important to remember that today is opening day in Major League Baseball. I gave you a full score report earlier. I'm not going to do it again because there's a bunch of games going on. But the ones closing in on kind of finishing up here, Yankees 4, Brewers 1, top 8th. Orioles whipping up on the Blue Jays 9-2, bottom 7. And the Phillies and Nationals still tied at 1 run apiece, top 7. And Red Sox and Rangers still tied up 2-2, top 7.
Of course, North Carolina, the state of North Carolina, is like a regional abyss when it comes to Major League Baseball. So you can't even watch local games, really, unless you obviously you can watch the quote unquote out of market games. You can't watch Orioles if you're an O's fan. You can't watch really the Braves if you're a Braves. It's dumb.
Well, first of all, baseball's got a lot of things that people complain about, and rightfully so.
And that's one of them.
Do you know what you want an analogy about baseball? I don't know if everybody has these friends. Occasionally I do. Somebody that whatever business they're in, oh, it's a rough year. The economy, the business is so far down. Nothing's going well. But every time you see them, they're like driving a new car. Or every time you see them, it's like, they just bought tickets to go to some fancy concert, and you're just like, I guess I believe you when you say business is bad, but I don't see the impact. That's baseball. Everyone's like, people are watching baseball less. Nobody wants to pay for the media rights. No one's going to baseball games. And then I'm like, well, you just spent $800 million on Juan Soto, so it just seems like it's not as bad as you think. Right? Every time I check, there's a new record-breaking contract in baseball, yet everybody's telling me they're making less money. I'm going, I don't know. Maybe you should start by, cutting out the frivolous expenses, not paying $750 million for an individual player. And I know not every team is doing that. It's the big market, but still, I don't know. Baseball can't be dying if people find a way to pay like $60 million a year for.
Well, you balance it out with the Miami Marlins, who are a payroll of less than $50 million.
Yeah, true. So
there's that.
If the Marlins wanted to complain, they're actually probably the ones stacking money, if we're being real.
And you have the Athletics are playing in a minor league park. They're just called the A's, I think, by the way. Not the Oakland A's. They're just the A's. Because they're playing in a minor league park in Sacramento.
Those fans can complain.
Oh, absolutely should.
But then the Dodgers exist, and I'm like, baseball has to be doing all right. Everybody on their payroll is making $100 million every 20 minutes. That's what it seems.
Yeah.
I know it's not. Anyway, Major League Baseball opening day today. As Dennis said, we're kind of in like a regional abyss in a sport that's becoming more and more regionalized.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of an awkward place for us. But hey, opening day, there's always something magic there. I feel like I should go home and watch The Sandlot. I won't because there's too much good basketball and baseball on, but I feel like I should. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of that good basketball, Sweet 16 tonight. It starts. It is the – actually, I'm going to say today's probably the most underrated day of the tournament.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody talks about the first weekend. Everybody gets jacked up for the Final Four. But today is kind of special because you got lulled into kind of a sleep Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? All the adrenaline from the weekend wears off. And now we're just going to get popped in the face by three pretty darn good games. 4 pretty darn good games. 3 of them not involving a local team, 1 involving a local team. And start about 7:40, we're going to have 2 games on at least the entire 2 games on the entire night, at least 1 getting warmed up. So there's a lot of good basketball tonight. BYU, Alabama, that's a 6 seed versus a 2 seed. Alabama the 2 seed. Florida hosting in San Fran, Maryland. Florida the 1 seed, Maryland a 4 seed. Duke, Arizona, that's in Newark. Duke the 1 seed, Arizona a 4 seed, and Texas Tech, Arkansas. Texas Tech a 3 seed, and Arkansas a 10 seed. We've talked a lot about the Duke game. I'm going to echo something I said earlier today, which is Duke is still in a no-win situation here, kind of. With the amount of talent they have, with the amount of ability they have, with the production they've shown this year, if you win this game, it's borderline not like it's a no celebration game. You got to like. What do they say about action movies? The coolest guys walk away from explosions without turning around to see it because they've done it so much. This is where Duke kind of has to do that. Like if you win the game, even if you win it by double figures, there's no fist bumping after the game. There's no big celebrations. Like you walk away from the explosion kind of stoic and because you expected it, right? And if you lose, then Arizona. Look at the explosion, right? They're going to be going nuts because they've slayed a Goliath. That's not a fun place to be, but it's where you've earned the right to be, right? Duke, like a handful of other programs, they count success in Final Fours and national championships. There's no like, hey, at least we made it to the Sweet 16, especially not when the season has gone the way it's gone. And it is a test, I would say, for the coaching staff, right? John Shire, in his 3rd year now as the Duke coach, I think he's grown a ton. I think he's things that have tripped up Duke the last 2 years. They've been able to kind of pass by those tests with flying colors this year, which is impressive. But it's one of the few things he hasn't done is like 1 seed, overwhelming favorite, rolling into these games as the whatever you want to call it, the lead dog. right? He's been a 4 seed and a 5 seed in the 2 NCAA tournaments that he's coached as a head coach. Now he's the 1 seed going up against a 4 seed, which is a different beast. So I want to see how they perform. I want to see how they play right out the gate, and obviously I'd like to see them win. Right, root for the locals. 9.5 point favorite. The over under set at 153.5. Of the 4 games we're supposed to see tonight, it is the second lowest over under. I think that's taking a little bit too much stock into the 69-55 victory Duke had over Arizona in November. I would expect it to be a bit higher than that if I'm a gambling person and I were picking an over-under. I think it's going to go up there. Duke seems more efficient offensively and more willing to play at a higher pace than they did back in those very early games. If you're looking for entertainment value, guess which has the highest over-under? That BYU-Alabama game has 175.5 as the over-under. The next closest is the Maryland-Florida game with 156.5. So there's like a 20-point gap there. Alabama and BYU, apparently their pace is high. They're going to get up and down. I knew Alabama played that way. I guess BYU is going to go, all right, let's sprint this mile and see who's at the end still alive.
Defense optional.
Yeah, get shots up. Shots on, pucks on net. Is that what they say? This is a different sport. Should be a really fun game. Obviously, pay attention to your brackets. Do you know what I also like to do? This is me just talking now. Little bit of like insight into my the way I handle it. Brackets by this point are usually cooked. I don't know what it is. I actually think I'm too close, right? Because I do too much research into like the Cinderellas. So then I fall in love with all of them, and I'm like, there's going to be 12 seeds. Like, that doesn't even exist. When actuality should just take more chalk. But if your bracket is cooked, I like to throw, like, I call them mini brackets, where I just bet all 4 games tonight and then parlay them together. And it's like, hey, my bracket's still alive through 1. My bracket's still alive through 2. And if it's cooked, I'll do the same thing tomorrow. It's just, bet what you can lose, but it's a way to have something at stake in every game, even if the team you had making it to the Elite Eight was upset in the first round. You still can have something on the line in every region tonight, and you can do the same tomorrow. It's just, now that gambling's legal, you can kind of manufacture some bracket buzz, even if your bracket is busted. Huh? I should trademark that and sell that to one of the sports books.
You should.
Bracket buzz, even when your bracket's busted. Sounds like something you would hear like Kevin Hart in a gambling commercial say, with LeBron dancing next to him. Or Jamie Foxx or JB Smooth. All the people that are in all the gambling commercials. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we pass things off to Overdrive, Dennis Cox has something he'd like you to hear.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Listen, don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you could do it too. Consolidate your debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Just think about that. Credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now. 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free rate quote now with no hard credit pull. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Quickly, let's make picks. BYU or Alabama, Dennis?
I have Alabama.
I have Alabama as well. Maryland or Florida?
Florida.
I had Maryland in my bracket, so I'm riding with it.
Okay.
Arizona or Duke?
Duke.
And Arkansas, the 10 seed, or Texas Tech, the 3 seed?
Ooh, give me Arkansas in this one.
I want Arkansas as well. I've got no horse in the race in my bracket. I 10 seed, double-digit seeds, got to be all in.
Florida and Duke are my championship. I have Duke winning the whole thing. And I also have Alabama in the Elite Eight, so that's kind of where I feel actually pretty good about that so far.
I have 3 1 seeds in Maryland in the Final Four, so
Okay.
I'm depending a lot on Maryland to get there to make up ground on other people in my bracket pool.
My weird one is Michigan in my Final Four.
I love it. My weird one. They got guys hitting the portal. So you're in trouble
Yeah,
there.
they do.
Scottie Pippen's kid.
Yeah.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9.
Yeah, I don't see that guy playing.
Well, Maryland has a coach hitting the portal, so I don't see that working out well either.
There's that too.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Overdrive coming up next. Talking more Duke, Arizona. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the games, everybody. See ya.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
NC State basketball got their guy, Will Wade. He was number 1A on their wish list. He's coming off a win with McNeese State in the NCAA tournament, and all of that is nice. The sizzle, the buzz, it's great. But so much of it is still going to come down to the same thing. Does he have the NIL money to get the players on campus?
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
Spring is here, and there's no better time to let a new career blossom. The Wake County Public School System is hiring special education instructional assistants and bus drivers, and we need dedicated individuals to help transport kids and provide instruction to motivated students. You'll love our competitive salaries and comprehensive benefits, including retirement, and will enjoy a welcoming, positive culture that will motivate you every day. Apply now at careers.wcpss.net and discover a place where anything is possible.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the lead